Whoa. Holy bupkis, Lord. Good Lord. Hey, how's everybody going? What's going on? It is Topher. It is another edition of Boston Concessions. We are hanging out here. It is almost springtime. It is getting to the nice, good, warm weather. And it has been an absolute blow out of your mind, like with everything happening. Oh. Do we got a lot to talk about? Yeah, maybe. But we also got a guest with us today, which I like these. He is a YouTube sensation. He basically does a lot of YouTube. He does a lot of Twitch. He's a completionist, a perfectionist, and everything in between. And what does he do? He likes sticking it around just to make sure everything is done and completed. I just see him as a good friend. But he is knowledgeable about the ball, henceforth why we have him here. So we're going to have like one of those wonderful absolute chats. And then who knows, you might even see like some other stuff. So without further ado, please welcome the one, the only Trav.
Howdy, folks. Hello. I'm sorry if my camera's laggy. We were trying to figure it out, but it wasn't fixing itself. So sorry.
Look, at least you don't look like shit. You're fine.
That's true. I am beautiful. Could be worse.
Settle down. So welcome in. Welcome to the concessions.
Thanks for having me. I would like to purchase a hot dog and some popcorn and maybe a soft drink as well. Wrong concession. Sorry.
No, dude. We complete with everything else: food, baseball, football, basketball, hockey, badminton. We've been. I think my first couple episodes, dude. My first couple episodes had to do with badminton. I'm like, wait, I've got everything, but what am I missing?
Yeah, that's
son of a
topic.
bitch.
It's certainly a topic.
It is just like some people talk about yachting. What did you do today? I went yachting. What did that entail? I went on an expensive boat.
I sat on a boat that cost more than your life.
Pretty much. 2 times over.
True.
So, again, welcome. I stated it because like every single time I look at your TikTok, it's like completely blown up with like everything. You're a TikTok sensation with like, looking at like one of the previous videos that I have over here. You have an immensely amount of 113K. No, I'm sorry. It's 13K likes on this thing, 116 comments and everything in between. How do you poop regularly? I just need to
I don't actually. I'm very irregular. Unfortunately, I've had a messed up stomach for a long time. Used to really love hot sauce. I'm sure you've seen the show Hot Ones on YouTube.
Oh God, yeah.
Yeah, I used to routinely take the last dab and I would put it on like pizza and stuff and just eat it. And I messed my stomach up, man. So I don't poop regular ever. Rarely. It's real hit or miss. No, it's shitty. See what I did there?
Well, speaking of hit or miss, here is our one and only Trav doing one of his lovely videos. Check it out.
The longest home run you could possibly hit in Diamond Dynasty and MLB The Show 25. Make sure you stay till the end of this video so you see just how far it went. SDS made a big change this year to add some more realism to the game, dropping the elevation potential in a stadium from over 5,200 to 3,000 being the absolute highest it can be. This is because at a lower elevation, balls won't travel as well. That means lower exit velos and less home runs typically. I got sent this clip by my good friend and the best editor in the MLB The Show community, bar none, Time to Dime, where he hit a ball absurdly far with Juan Soto's live series card. You got to see this.
Holy Woo!
Yeah, 530 was a bit.
A longer home run than that, make sure to comment down below. Follow me for more MLB The Show content. And of course, if you have any crazy clips you want to see me react to, send them to me at the link in my bio. We have an
That's insane.
Yeah. I saw one today that was significantly longer than that. Kind of blew my mind.
Was it like 573?
It was up there. It was somewhere around that. Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah. It was
So-
something insane.
So you have, besides your camera actually working completely perfectly when you're actually doing TikToks, I won't take offense to it. As your camera just glitched.
It works perfectly on everything except for this link that you sent me to your podcast. I swear to God, it works perfect everywhere else. I have a really high quality camera, but for some reason, my PC is not happy with StreamYard.
I don't know why. All it is just like it's a link.
I wish I knew. I'd fix it if I knew. I can't figure out the problem.
So what? Like you were like watching that video and watching everything what it was. You're very poised. You're very delivering everything basically that's actually going on in the video. You're calling out very well. What was processed in your head to where like you're sitting there and I'm like, I can do content with this. Oh my god! Give me a computer.
Yeah. So I sit at my desk most of my day. I have this desk and then there's one you can't see. It's behind me. It's for my day job. So I'm typically like in this room for a good chunk of at least my daytime. And I usually kill that time by talking to my friends in Discord, specifically Time to Dime, the guy who uploaded that video. And that I had the clip of the home run. So I was talking to him as I was just kind of sitting here and I was like, hey, you posted that clip on your Twitter today, right? And he said, yeah. I was like, you mind if I like rip it and do a reaction video to it? He was like, no, go ahead. It's like, okay, cool. So that was the whole thing. It literally, it's something I've been thinking about doing more is just reacting to like crazy MLB The Show clips. Like there's actually a couple that I'm going to rip tonight and kind of react to them. Yeah, people love reaction content. You know what I mean? And it's one of those things that some people get mad at you when you take stuff without their permission and kind of do stuff like that. But TikTok is a different beast because if somebody uploads a video and I'm like, you know what, I'm going to rip this and do a reaction to it or something. It's like a crazy clip or whatever. Everything I'm going to do is going to give you credit. You're going to be tagged. You're going to be shown in the video. Like it's one of those things that like that is the perfect medium if you're going to do reaction content because nobody can get mad at you because you are literally linked right there. Like no one can be like, oh, you stole my content and I'm not getting credit for it or it's not helping me at all. It's like that's how a lot of like the biggest content creators have grown. Like if you see guys like Queso, for example, he's as big as he is, or Sketch even. He's as big as he is because on TikTok in particular, people were sharing clips of him and they weren't even like reacting to it. They were literally just ripping clips from his streams and stuff and just uploading them on their own. And, you know, after, you know, a couple weeks of, you know, the 25 different people uploading these videos of him, yeah, naturally he went mega viral and people started following him and finding him and watching his videos. And now he's a multimillionaire. And my thought process is I'm doing the reaction content, so I'm adding something to it. Plus, I'm making sure the person in the video that made the original piece of content is also getting their fair shake. I've never been the type that I'm like looking to steal an idea or steal something from somebody. If I have an idea that I think is similar to somebody, I'll even send them a message and be like, hey, you know, are you cool with me doing something like this? You know, how do you feel about this? Like Shelfie in the MLB The Show community, for example. Every year since I started watching him, before I ever even made a single video, he's been doing his Pack Squad videos. And I came up with a really cool concept that was kind of a spin on those videos. I sent him a DM. This is 2 years ago before I stopped making baseball content. I sent him a DM. I said, hey, bro, do you care? Like, I don't want to step on your toes. This is something I was thinking about doing. It's similar to your Pack Squads. They kind of inspired it, you know. And he was like, no, dude, go for it. Like most people, 99% of people are going to be cool about it. There's always that 1% that they'll be assholes about it. But realistically, that 1% of assholes, I can be an asshole right back. I don't care how you feel. like if I'm giving you every ounce of credit and you still bitch, you are what you're doing. That's how I feel.
Some people just don't want to grow in that case because it's,
yeah,
you know, I mean, in certain spaces, if you're taking a video and being like, look at this, and then like, you don't tag them, you don't like, you know, You don't state who it is, what it is. You're not like giving them the proper credit, or throw in their logo with everything like right in the front of the video, like halfway through. Yeah, then people are just like, oh man, my content went to this guy. He made this freaking stupid video, and like now I gotta deal with it. Now
And
he's getting all the
happened to me
views, and I
once.
look like poo.
It happened to me once. I made a video on YouTube. This was every new swing from MLB The Show 22 to MLB The Show 23. When the tech test came out, I sat for several hours getting footage of just every batting stance and swing. And then I went through and got the footage of all the same players from MLB 22. I compared it, and I made just a side-by-side video. It was like like 30-minute video. I don't even remember. It got like 130,000 views on YouTube. One day I open up TikTok and I'm just scrolling and I see my video on there. And this dude didn't have any reactions to it. It was literally just my video ripped straight from YouTube, nothing on it, no additions, like nothing. And the guy was like, I went through and found every swing change in MLB The Show. And I'm like, no, the fuck you didn't. So like in that situation, I spent hours of my time to do that. It took me like 2 days of recording to get all the footage I needed, and then another day or so to splice it all together. It was a pain in the ass. So I'm like, delete that shit, because it was going viral for him. And like, it'd be different if I had been featured in the video at all, but it was a video where I didn't have my camera on at all. I was not on screen at all. The only way I knew it was mine was because in the MLB The Show tech tests, in the center of the screen, it has your gamer tag. So I saw that it said sudo LG, which was my username at that point in time, in the middle of the screen. So I'm like, this is clearly my video. And like everyone that saw it was like, hey, you're an asshole, delete this video. And the guy even DM'd me, did not follow me at all. Sends me a DM and he's like, oh bro, please don't make me delete it. I've been a big fan for so long, blah, blah, blah. And like, he literally followed me 5 minutes before sending that message. I'm like, you haven't been a big fan of me. You haven't been a fan of me. You're just an asshole that wants to rip my shit. No. I was like, delete the video, quit being a dickhead, and do better. If you want to make content, do better. So that was, that was the only time I've ever had it happen in that manner. And I was like, no, this is bullshit. Like if it was a video where I had something crazy happen and somebody reacted to my clip, I'd love it. I would love it. Dude, listen. I'm really good boys with Nutsy Poo. Nutsy has a huge following on TikTok. If Nutsy one day was just like, oh, I saw this crazy clip from Trav plays ball on TikTok. Let's see this. It's insane. I'd be like, oh, sweet. Nutsy's giving me the rub. Thanks, dude. Like that would probably net me thousands of followers. Like it's one of those things that like people get bent out of shape over stuff that like they shouldn't be angry at. You know what I mean? Just make good content, be a semi-decent person. You'll probably be fine.
Maybe that's why I have like a ball of lint listening to us right now.
Listen, dude, that might be it.
Yep. It's just that ball of lint. He's going to travel in different pants. Could be true. So what, like, so you're sitting there, you're making content, you're doing everything you're doing, you're gaming. I did give you the shot that your completionist Trav, completer of games, is actually in your name.
That is me.
So I know you. I know you because we've talked for like about, dude, it's been like about 3 years, I think.
I was gonna say it's been close to 3 years now. Yeah.
Jesus Lord, where's the time?
It's really gross to think about.
Oh
I try to just think that I met everybody that I talked to like the day before. Because if I think back to like, I have a really tight knit friend group, and I've known all of them for over a decade, and it's really disgusting to think about. I'm 28, and it's super gross to think about how long I've known some of my really close friends.
Dude, I'm 45, and I still have like a really good friend from kindergarten, for Christ's sakes.
Yep.
And he's the only one that's basically like lingered around. Like everybody else is bounced, grew up, turned into like douche canoes, and like just like made their fodder and everywhere else. And I'm sitting here like I'm fine, I'm whatever. But no, like for whatever it is, he's living large down in Florida, so
there you go.
I think he actually takes beer kegs and he decorates them. I'm not kidding. I'm not kidding. He actually does.
No, I believe that. That's cool.
Yeah, he got into it like recently. So I give him credit for all it is. So, and now I'm gonna have to message him and be like, "Hey, I know you don't listen, but I give you a shout out. So, Paulie, you're still a dick. I don't care." But
shit, Polly.
yeah, I know, right? Paulie, what the fuck, man? But no, like what did make you like, like I'm picturing to the fact that like you're sitting at a PlayStation, you're doing God knows what, and you're like, oh man, I could do this as content. What got you into the content phase? Like what brought you to gamer to content to now making what you do on TikTok?
I've always been a gamer. My brother is actually your age.
Thanks.
So listen, I'm the youngest of 4 siblings. 2 of them are in their 40s. So, like mid 40s. So I've always played video games. My brother was a big gamer. At one point in time, he owned every single video game console known to man, and I'm not exaggerating. There was there was the Sega Saturn, Dreamcast, PS1, 2, like anything you can think of was in there. Nintendo DS, Game Boy Advance, Game Boy Color, literally every single one. Like I cannot stress that I'm not exaggerating. This was like 2008. Every single video game console, like commercial video game console that you could possibly think of, was in this dude's house. Like it's like, so the world was basically my oyster when it came to video gaming. And it started out, I was a big Call of Duty fan. I was a big Pokemon kid. My favorite game of all time is actually being remade here in the next couple months, and I'm so excited. Elder Scrolls Oblivion. That was a big game that I played with my siblings growing up, and that's like when I heard they were remaking that, I was like, I would literally stop doing everything I'm doing to play that game again. But yeah, so video games have always been a big part of my life. And the other thing has been baseball. So I started playing baseball when I was 12. I played up until my junior year of college when I tore my elbow. And those two things have always been kind of like neck and neck as far as like the things I love the most to do with my time and just stuff that brings me enjoyment. So I got through college. I got my injury, and I was like, well, I'm probably not playing baseball anymore. So the dreams of playing either semi-professional or professional baseball at some level were pretty much out of the question at that point, without me really needing to retool my body to get back into it. And I didn't feel like putting that kind of stress on my arm again. So I was like, okay, I'm going to just finish out school, go to work, and go from there. I always thought about streaming when I was in college, but I just never, it was kind of like stage fright. I was a bit nervous to be in front of people, talking in front. Like I was always fine being in front of a camera, but that was with people that I knew. If I was trying to be in front of a camera to like people on the internet that I didn't know, or maybe people that were watching me and kind of saying things that, maybe kind of shitting on me for something, like I didn't know how I would be able to handle the scrutiny, I guess, of like the unknown. So I fought the urge to do it. And then COVID rolls around, 2020 rolls around. I got furloughed from my job, and I needed something to do to pass the time. I wasn't going to get another job because I was collecting unemployment because I knew I was coming back when the lockdown was lifted. So I was like, I'm just going to take my unemployment, and then when I get back to my job in a few months, whatever. So I streamed. The first game I streamed was either MLB 20 or The Last of Us 1. I cannot remember exactly which one it was. I could probably look on my Facebook and figure it out because I used to share stuff over there. But yeah, so I just decided one day to stream. I finally said, you know what, I'm going to try it. I streamed directly from my PlayStation, from my console, on a TV in our living room, no camera, just me kind of waffling while playing those games. And I did it for a couple months off and on, was like, I'm not really getting anywhere. I hit affiliate on Twitch, but I was like, I'm not really getting anywhere past that. 2021 rolls around. I'm like, okay, I'm going to try to do a little bit more here. So I streamed a bit more consistently. I uploaded the YouTube video here and there, nothing crazy. And then 2022 rolled around, and I was like, okay, I am going to actually like put forth my best foot forward. I'm finally kind of comfortable. I think I can do this and get pretty good at it. So I decided January 1st, I'm going to start going hard on YouTube, TikTok, Twitch, whatever. So from that day, January 1st, 2022, I had approximately like 500 followers across Twitter, YouTube, Twitch. I don't even think I was using TikTok really at that point, and Instagram. So I was just like, all right, I'm going to see what I can do. And from that day until January, or not January, June 1st of 2023, when I stopped making MLB The Show and baseball content, I went from those like some 500 followers to 40,000 on TikTok. I had 6,500 on YouTube, and then I had another like 1,500 on Twitter, and then 3,000 on Twitch. So, and Instagram, I had like 10K, and then I deleted my account. So, because I just didn't use Instagram. I've since remade one, but I haven't done much with it yet. So, yeah, in a year and some change, I went from basically nobody knows who I am to some people know who I am, and it was pretty cool. And I was really hitting my stride when I quit doing baseball content. So from
what did you change that was different?
I just figured it out. I stopped worrying about what people were going to think and just tried to be more confident. I know baseball better than 98% of people that exist. It's just I'm a baseball historian. I played it at a high level. I've coached it at a high level. Like I just know the game better than a lot of people, and I wasn't afraid to say that. Whereas before, I always tried to like not step on people's toes. And I guess I tried to make sure that early on I wasn't sounding like I was kind of like arrogant or that I knew more than people, even though kind of like baseball is the one thing in my life I am ultra competitive about. I will be cocky when I talk about it. That's the only thing, because it's the only thing I really knew as a kid that was like my escape from whatever I had going on. But yeah, so I just kind of figured things out. I started trying some more things. I looked at what other creators were doing that were successful, and I put my own flair on those kinds of things, not necessarily copying them, but taking inspiration from them and then adding my own stuff to it to make it my own thing, to make it work. But yeah, so the game came out April of 23, I think was when it came out. From April to June, I went up like 4,000 YouTube subscribers, like 28,000 followers on TikTok, like several thousand on the other platforms too. And June rolls around, and I was so burnt out from playing MLB The Show every day that I couldn't do it. I tried to force myself to stream it a couple times. I was able to stream for like an hour and a half here and there. And I was just like, I just can't do it. I wasn't enjoying the game. Even though the numbers were doing well, I was seeing like Twitch partnership level viewership numbers. And even that wasn't enough to like entice me to stick around. I knew I needed, for my own mental health, to kind of walk away for a bit. I didn't know if it was going to be permanent or if I was just going to go for a couple of weeks and then come back, or what my plan was. But I was like, you know what? I'm just going to walk away. I want to do something different. And what I eventually realized was that it wasn't that I was so burnt on the game because I hated the game. I was burnt on the game because I didn't do anything else. It kind of was like, in a way, like a weird way, it was sort of like an addiction. Like I knew every day I was going to wake up, do my day job, and then I was going to spend like 5, 6, 7, 8 hours playing MLB The Show every single day. No matter what I did, that's what I was going to do. Even if we had plans, I'd have my plans. We'd leave. I'd come back. I'd jump on the game. And it was just like, it was an endless cycle of, yeah, I knew exactly what I was going to do every day. And I was like, I need something to change it up. And what I eventually realized was that I love gaming so much, but I'm experiencing nothing other than this one game that at that point in time, 5 out of 7 days of the week, it was bringing me no enjoyment. I was just agitated constantly. So I just decided I'm going to try to start playing some other games and kind of get my head back out of the MLB The Show space, and back into just like, hey, I'm a guy that just enjoys playing video games. And then Dime, ironically, back to him. Oops, sorry, I scratched my mic. Back to Time to Dime. He was like, have you ever considered doing like a platinum trophy video? And I was like, well, what do you mean? Because I didn't think there was a market for it, because I've always done things like when I play games, I always like doing everything they have to offer. Like in MLB The Show and Diamond Dynasty, my thing every year has been that I collect every single card in the game by the end of the year. That's just one of the things I like to do. So yeah. So it takes a lot of time and effort, but it's like, it just gives me something to strive for. So I've always liked the completionist style content. The completionist, actually, Gerard the completionist, was like one of my favorite YouTubers for a very long time, and then he stole from charity, so fuck that guy. But that was the kind of content I consumed, but I just didn't think that there was really, for the style of videos that I would have wanted to do, where it's like kind of talking about my experience and stuff, I didn't really feel like there was a market for that. And then I got shown a couple videos of guys that were blowing up with it, and I was like, wow, I'm going to take a stab at it. And I've had 8 out of my 18 videos on my platinum trophy hunting channel have over 100,000 views. So like it's been a pretty solid endeavor for me. But it's one of those things that I feel like I should be farther along in that too. But I'm just kind of resigned to the fact that once I started was when a bunch of other people started. And for a bit, my videos weren't as good as they needed to be. But now that they're where I think they need to be, I'm confident that as long as I just keep uploading one video a month or whatever, that I'm gonna do really well for myself in that space. But I also realized that I wanted to come back to the baseball space. Like I said, baseball's been my life for 70% of it. So it's one of those things that trying to find a way to segment my time between my wife, my kids, and my content creation, my day job, my family. It's a lot to juggle, but it's everything that I do is rewarding to me. It's not like I do something and there's no payoff or there's no enjoyment factor. I know people that just kind of, they push through and push through and push through, and it's just a miserable existence. But for me, I take, especially since my daughter was born and we have another one on the way, I take everything day by day. I try to, not to get like cliche or like cringy, but like win the day. You know what I mean? I try to wake up and appreciate what I have and try to make sure that what I have is a baseline. We're not going to fall under what we currently have. And it's not like a material thing. It's just like, like my family's healthy. Like I said, we have another little girl on the way. It's just, my baseline is wake up and be with them, and there's love in my house and stuff like that, and whatever I can do to enhance that for us, I'm going to make sure I can do every single day. So a lot of it was just trying something for myself as an outlet, because I didn't have the outlet to play baseball anymore. There weren't any broadcasting jobs available, obviously, during lockdown, so that kind of pushed me to trying Twitch as well, and just a couple other things like that. So that's kind of been my journey in a nutshell. I know I kind of waffled on for a few minutes there past what the question actually was, but that's been my journey, really, from the time I was a kid and just loved video games and baseball to today, where I get paid to make videos on video games and baseball. And it's something that hopefully I can leave my day job soon. And you kind of know the behind the scenes stuff that I can't necessarily talk about, but that's coming to fruition. So it's a really exciting time right now.
Well, I mean, it's something for like where, like what you're saying, it's you're experiencing what a lot of people always want. It's they find something that they enjoy, something that they basically cradle into, and then they turn it into a job. And of course, like one of the biggest things people have said is, do what you love, you'll never work a day in your life. So if you like making content, if you're doing everything you're doing, you're taking care of family, making sure they're healthy, making sure they're prime, making sure everything else. By the way, congratulations on child number 2.
Nice.
I'm surprised it's not a completer of games, knower of ball, father of 2.
Yeah, I should have put that in there.
Or father of daughters.
Daddy of many.
Dad of daughters.
That's it.
But no, like you're following one of the things that like a lot of people do look at, and it's, for me, it's one of the things that you can, and I've said this to you like off, but I will say this now in front of an audience of Lint. You can basically, in any which way, shape, or form, you can know and understand the fact that, like, when you watch your content, it does seem like, you've got like that, but there's passion in it. And like, if you don't have the passion, then it's like you kind of like get skewed. Because there's some people you watch and there's no passion at all. They're like, dude, do you want to see what I can do with this tape? You're going to see it. You're gonna love it. You're gonna watch what. And yes, there's a whole bunch of grunting. There's a lot of motion and movement, but where's the passion of? Do you know what I can do with this tape and you?
Yeah.
Do you want to see? I bet your sweet cheeks. You're gonna want to know. Things like that make you more enticing. What's he gonna do with the tape? Are they gonna go between cheeks? Why is he doing that?
Not again.
I know. So we talked to like basic, like I know you talked about baseball. You went through like a couple things. What's your like? What's the ballpark of choice you go to? Because I know you're in Pittsburgh or
Yep.
Pennsylvania, like you're down there. So is it PNC or do you travel?
Yeah, PNC easily. I've been to 6 ballparks. My goal is to get to all 30, and hopefully with this new job, I'll be traveling a good bit, so I'll be able to do that. But yeah, PNC, out of all of the stadiums I've been to, and it's not just the inherent, like, I'm from the city. I've really loved Baltimore. I've really loved Minnesota. I thought Minnesota was super cool. I haven't been to a bad park yet. Even Oakland. I went to Oakland last year before they left. My goal was to go to the Coliseum because they were leaving, and I expected to show up and be one of like 500 fans there, but no, because of the fact that the Coliseum they were leaving it. It was a sold out stadium, and it was awesome. Like, yes, Oakland, the city, kind of shit, but the stadium in itself there was something so kind of like infectious about it that I really enjoyed it.
Probably what like devoured Ricky Henderson to like stay there for a long period of time.
Honestly, yeah, that was probably it. But yeah, I just I really enjoyed that. But I've been Pittsburgh, Baltimore, Minnesota, Philadelphia, Oakland, and Cleveland. I have a hat. I buy a hat every time I go to a new stadium, so that's how I keep track of where I've been. But yeah, so far they've all been really good, but PNC is just, it takes the cake. It's the best one easily. The best atmosphere was Philadelphia, actually, which is surprising because I don't like Philadelphia sports fans for the most part. I think they are mostly assholes. But the stadium that day that we got there was electric. Philadelphia was playing Baltimore, who were both in the hunt for a playoff spot at that point. It was July. It was the end of July, so it was like really a good atmosphere, like late season baseball, and that both teams were into it. The crowd was into it. It was sold out. It was a really great time, and I was there with some good friends, so that made it a lot better too. But yeah, PNC still takes the cake for me, and I think it always will. But we'll see as I get to go to these other places and kind of reevaluate it from there. I usually keep a thread of like my ranking of them, but yeah, PNC's number one.
Well, now you can actually say, because what's the before I ask my one question, what's the one ballpark that, like, if you could go jump on a plane right now and you're like, crap, I gotta go there right now, like, where would you go? I know I get the really hard hitting questions because I don't know, I just ask stupid things.
You know what? That is tough, but it also comes down to like a number of factors, because like if I said the Dodgers stadium, then I would also have to say the Angels, because I would hit them both in one swing.
Yeah.
San Francisco, same thing. I think that ballpark is gorgeous. I would love to go there. But it's like, if I was going to go to San Francisco, I would just also go down to LA and knock off those two stadiums too. The only reason I didn't do that with Oakland is because I was literally I flew out Friday, landed at midnight West Coast time in Oakland, slept until 2 a.m. And then I was at the ballpark at 11 a.m. because it was a 1 o'clock game. And then after that, I was flying out Sunday at 7:30 in the morning. So I flew in, I was there for a day, and then I flew out. So if it was something where I had more time, then I would have just done this California trip and gotten them all all knocked off. But I like ballparks that have history. There's actually a stadium in Johnstown, Pennsylvania, that is modeled after Fenway Park, and I played there. It was a league called the Triple ABA in Johnstown, Pennsylvania. It's a college league for like some of the best college players in this region. And I was up there playing in it, and that was like the home stadium, and it was super super cool. It was literally like a cut and paste Fenway, basically. And so that I'd always love to get the opportunity to actually visit the real Fenway. I think that's a big one for me. Wrigley, I hate the Cubs, but I love that the history of that stadium. I would love to sit on that balcony that's not even in the stadium and watch a game from there, and then actually go into the stadium for like the next game. Make it like a 2-day thing. I think that'd be really fun. So yeah, I guess I would say Boston or the Chicago Cubs, Wrigley Field. I guess those would be my two, and it's mainly because of how historical they are. Yankee Stadium, of course, is another one, but that's also one that if I was going to New York, I would go to Citi Field and Yankee Stadium. Whereas, like, I'm trying to think of one just like individually, but Chicago, I guess Chicago too. I would go to the guaranteed rate field for the White Sox. So I would bust those both out. So I guess my definitive pick would have to be Boston. And that's not sucking ass because I'm on a podcast with Bostonians. But
What?
that is just literally just like, that is the stadium that instantly comes to mind. Like everywhere else, I'm like, oh, there's two. Texas, I could go to Arlington and Houston. Florida, I could go to Tampa Bay and Miami. Obviously the Californias. Minnesota, I've already gone to. Kansas City and St. Louis, those are close enough that I would probably go to both of them at the same time. Milwaukee, I have, you know what? That's the one I'm so uninterested in going because I hate everything about the Milwaukee Brewers franchise.
But you don't like the slide in the back?
I like the slide. That's the only cool thing they have. I don't like the franchise. I don't like the stadium. Their fans can sugma. Like that is, if any, like people that are fans of the NL Central, usually it's like the Pirates fans hate the Cubs, or the Reds are a big one that people are, or the Cardinals. Like it's usually one of those three. Meanwhile, I'm like, no, I hate Milwaukee. Like I hate the Milwaukee Brewers. Like that is the team out of all teams in baseball. Like they'll probably be the last stadium I go to unless my buddy who is a Brewers fan convinces me to go out there. And we're only friends because he's originally from Pittsburgh and he bandwagons a lot. His heart still lives with the Buccos, even though he knows they suck.
Oh.
But he's a bandwagon fan because he bounces around the different states every now and again and changes his team. He was in Milwaukee for a bit. Then he's still in Minnesota now, or like in Wisconsin. Whatever. He's basically right there. So he's been a Twins fan for a while. Brewers. He likes some Canadian teams for hockey and stuff. Like he kind of still bounced around a little bit. He's a little bit of a bandwagon, but I know his heart still lies at home, so we can accept it. But yeah, Milwaukee would be the one I least want to go to, and then Boston would probably be the one I most want to go to.
I actually would want to. I remember when they had Tampa, like when they actually had the actual Devil Rays in the like in the little tank in the back, and then what was the other one? Arizona. I wanted to go to because like the way they had like the waterfall and everything like that in the back.
Yeah, Arizona looks really cool.
Yeah, kind of like how like Anaheim looked at one point or still does.
Yeah.
But yeah, Arizona would basically be the one that like if you go down there, it's like, the hell do I go?
Yeah, if you go to a game in Arizona, you like have to get tickets and live in the pool, or you are gonna burn to a crisp. And I'm a pretty pale individual, so I don't like places where it's hot. I grew up in Pennsylvania, where I experience every season every day of my life. On my wedding day, actually, speaking of that, on my wedding day, it started out, it was a 72-degree day. Well, no, it started out, it was raining. It was like 55 and rainy, and then it got up to sunny and 72. Then we went to take our pictures with our the bridal group at a nearby lake. It was hailing. like it did everything on this one day, and it was early April. It was like April showers bring May flowers. Just kidding. You're going to experience snow and hail and sleet, and then it's going to be 72 degrees and it's going to rain again. Like we got everything on my wedding day. It was the greatest. that's
like the experience for me up here in Boston. Like, hey, what's the weather like today? Bipolar. Oh,
yeah,
great.
That is
Great.
Pennsylvania weather. There's no better way to describe it other than it is bipolar.
Meanwhile, you go up to Seattle and it's like rain.
Yeah.
So since you've actually been to like a couple places and you want to come to Boston, congratulations. At least you know somebody up here though now too.
That's kind of the thing I've lucked out is I actually like pretty much everywhere now. If I was to go somewhere, I could call somebody and be like, "Hey, can I stay at your place, or do you want to meet me for a game?"
Yes and yes.
Yeah. So
like, hey, I'm coming in. All right, cool. I gotta come.
It's gonna save me a lot of money in hotel fees. That's for sure.
Right. It's like anything does.
Yeah.
So it doesn't have to be PNC. It can be like anything that like you've seen on the menu. It's anything that you basically reach out for. You go to a game, you go to sit, you watch the first inning, and all of a sudden it's like you get up and it's like, all right, go to the concession stand. What do you go to? What's your go-to? I know everybody says hot dog. Everybody, oh man, I gotta have a hot dog. Fenway, they're considered Fenway Franks. Everybody and their mother like, oh, Fenway Frank. It's the cheapest fucking thing on the menu. Of course you want a Fenway Frank. What doesn't matter with you?
Listen, I love hot dogs. I don't like the disrespect I'm hearing here. But
listen, I like hot dogs myself. Okay, I got ridiculed by someone's producer because I was sitting there making hot dogs. And they wanted to know what I made for dinner. And you know what I said? I said I did hot dogs, but I did them specially. You're calling in to talk to us about hot dogs? Like judgment zone.
People don't respect the hot dog the way they should. It is the great American food, and I will die on that hill. But
it is still one of my favorite skits. It is from like I'm not a big Will Ferrell fan like everybody, but when he was Harry Carey and he was sitting there talking to Norm Macdonald, he's like, "Hey Norm, if you were a hot dog, would you eat yourself?" I would.
Listen, I thoroughly enjoy Will Ferrell. That's anything with Norm Macdonald instantly gets like plus 500 to me. I loved Norm's brand of humor. I was so sad when I found out he died. Like that was one of the celebrity deaths that actually made me sad because I thoroughly enjoyed him and all of his comedic stylings. The deadpan shit that he said. Yeah, Gilbert was another one. That one was crazy. But I experienced a different Gilbert Gottfried than a lot of people did because I first recognized him as the bird from Aladdin. Yeah, yep. That was my first actual experience with him, and then I discovered his stand up and other stuff later as I got older and was like, oh my god, this dude was rancid as hell. I love it because that's my kind of comedy. But
well, that's like people now when they sit there is like, oh, I watched this Eddie Murphy movie. It was a little weird. I'm like,
and then they go watch Eddie Murphy Raw for an hour. Or it's like Bob Saget before he died. Raw.
Yeah,
Delirious was good too. Yeah, like Bob Saget before he died. People just think of him as Danny Tanner from Full House, and he gets on there and he's calling people homosexual slurs and other things. Yeah, it's just like it's so crazy.
It's the same thing with like people know Richard Pryor from doing all the movies with Gene Wilder and like them being like a tag team of everything. But then like if you ever heard Richard Pryor stand up, oh my god.
Yeah, he's
hot in the ears. You do not bring a child to that show.
He was
no.
Mad, George Carlin, another one, just the greats. The greats.
I saw Carlin actually a couple months before he passed away.
Damn.
And like I will tell you, I loved Carlin for years. So one of the things my uncle used to play for me and everything, and we'd sit there and listen. But when I was amazed at the fact that he was even going.
Mm-hmm.
Like he looked
bad.
I'm not want to say anything, but like when like you hit the odometer on the mileage thing, and you got to be like, "The fuck am I doing?"
Yeah.
But no, he was gung ho. He was about it. And then, like, for whatever reason, he was talking about, like, death and suicide and a couple of the things, and it didn't seem like a joke at the time. And I'm like, this is not funny.
Yeah.
This is like I've hit the okay. New stuff with Carlin out the door. Old stuff. Hey, give me the 70s. All right.
It's like when dark humor forgets that it's supposed to be humor and it's simply dark. But yes, okay, ballpark. My go-to at every ballpark, it is literally whatever their like special thing is. But if I go somewhere and if it's somewhere I've been before and I just want to go and get something to eat, the first thing I'm actually looking for is French fries. Ballpark French fries. Like Pittsburgh and Philadelphia, they have Chicky and Pete's crab fries that are super fucking delicious.
Time out. Explain what these are. I need to know what they are. And
so Chicky and Pete's it's like a chain restaurant, and they're in obviously Pittsburgh and Philadelphia region, more so in Philly, but they are in PNC Park, thankfully. It's a giant cup of fries, like literally like that big of a cup, like the size of my head of a cup. Like it's a big ass cup of fries.
Are you looking at one like?
No, I wish. They're drenched in what's the seasoning from Maryland they put on all the seafood?
Old Bay?
Yes.
That's what
they
I
are
use.
Drenched in Old Bay seasoning and a couple other things, and then it's like the thickest, most like delicious cheese sauce you can think of with more Old Bay in it. Oh, dude, they're so good. Like I could eat several containers of them in one sitting, but I would literally die. Like, so like I've always been like, I grew up, I was a meat and potatoes kid, and I'm still the same way. Like chicken wings or a burger and some French fries. That's like, if it's not a hot dog, it's one of those things. Oh, excuse me. So
somebody
I
was
would go French fries for what
somebody was actually telling me at one point that there was a
what?
You order a beer, and if you're at Camden Yards, you order a beer, and it's bacon on a stick, and it's like candied bacon. So it's prepped, cured, cooked, like basically smoked overnight, candied beyond belief, and then it's just put in the beer. So you're eating it, you're pulling it out, you're sipping your beer, you're eating it again. It's like adult stuff. Like that's the stuff I need in my life. I need like real good stuff on a stick.
Stuff on a stick is always good.
Give me a damn good fucking corn dog. I'm sold.
Yeah. Oh, I love a corn dog.
No.
I love a good corn dog. I wish that I could. The one thing I wish I could experience at ballparks is beers, because I actually cannot drink beer. I don't know why. I've never been tested to see if I'm allergic, but I used to be a bartender, and I have I've tried north of 50 different brands and types of beer, and every single one of them makes me release from one side of my body.
Oh my Lord.
Like if you give me like a Coors Light, for example, yes, I don't like the taste, number one, but if you give me a Coors Light bottle and I'm like feeling good, I can drink like basically the neck of that 12-ounce bottle of beer, and then I'm either going to, one of the sides of me is going to release something. It doesn't take much. It makes me feel like shit. So unfortunately, I cannot partake in ballpark brews as much as I would like to, because it's always nice to have like, a hot dog and a beer. So I get cocktails, even though they're super expensive. I'll get a cocktail.
I'm one that like I can't do IPAs. Like all right, like people do, why can't you do an IPA? Like, what do you mean why can't I do an IPA? I don't like the aftertaste. I don't like the way it fucking flows. Like, shut up. I don't. Yeah. But give me a regular beer. Give me like, a summertime, like good brew, anything like that. Like I'm sold and into it. Coors Light, to me, it's like water.
Yeah.
It doesn't give you that flavorful buzz. It doesn't give you like, man, if I drink a beer, I want to feel like, I want to feel like I'm a little bit on cloud nine. I can just relax. No symptoms, no nothing. But you drink like a Coors Light, it's like, that's it. And you throw the can away. But I
I'm picking
do
up
like
the
certain
phone.
cocktails on a. I do like certain cocktails like during a game.
Yeah, I'm a cocktail guy. But by necessity and both by just the fact that I like liquor. But yeah, I'm a cocktail guy. When I go out and have a drink, it's gonna be a nice cocktail or something like frozen. I like alcoholic slushies because those are always really nice on a hot day. But yeah, it's always a cocktail, and that's I usually try to save that for a bit later in the game. I don't like show up at the park in the first thing. I'm like, it's time to get sauced. Like, if I'm gonna get drunk, I'm gonna get drunk before I go to that ball game because I'm not spending $150 on 4 drinks. um, but yeah,
Oh, then
usually French
you
fries and a nice tall souvenir pop, because I know some people get weird about soda. It's pop to me, and it always will be. So
like listen, I've seen people that like, especially if you come to Fenway, one of the things you'll see is like you'll see them rush in. Hey, give me 4 dogs, give me the fries, and give me the beer. Give me the beer. Okay, not even half the inning. I'll be right back. 2 more beers.
yeah.
7th inning, they cut you off, and then like the beer is done, and the guy's just like, "Okay, can we go home now?" It's like,
Yeah,
what you talking
especially
about? There's 2
now
more
that the
innings.
games are so short, it's like it's not worth it to start drinking at the ballpark because you're going to be there for 2 hours, and it's like,
Yeah,
what are you going to do in 2 hours unless you just keep going up and getting more beer, and then you're going to spend at least a quarter of the game in lines, and it's just a waste of your money. So it's easier just to drink after or before, usually
yeah.
after, ideally. But
And especially for like a lot of things that you do, it's you got to think you're outside, you're gonna get thirsty, it's hot, it's humid, you don't bring a water, you don't have a water. Oh, hey, look at this is wet.
yeah, basically,
So okay, we got the fries, we got the
yeah.
pop. You do ice cream at the ballpark?
I do love a good ice cream at the ballpark. If it's got a little souvenir like helmet kind of thing, I like that geeky little shit. I like collectibles. I'm a knickknacks kind of person. Um, so yeah, I do like a good ice cream. I'm a big ice cream fan. I've always always eaten it. So it's one of those things. It's kind of like second nature that if there's ice cream, I will get it. My go-to ice cream flavor, if it's available, no matter where I go, no matter what they have, my go-to will always be orange dreamsicle, orange cream. That is my number one. That was my grandmother's fault. She passed when I was like 10, I believe, and I distinctly remember every time I was going to her house, no matter if I was there for 5 minutes or 5 hours, the first thing she would do, I'd walk in, she'd give me a hug, she'd be smoking her cigarette, and I would go into the freezer and I would get an orange dreamsicle out of her freezer. And that was one of my favorite things about my childhood. So even to this day, like if there's anything that comes out with like an orange cream flavor, I try it. I make my wife get it. And I'm just like, all right, let's experience this together because that's just like that is the feeling. That's the flavor that takes me back to my childhood more than anything else. So I just that's the one. If it's there, I will get that over everything. Close second. This is gonna make me sound like a weird old man. Butter pecan. I love butter
No,
pecan ice cream. I love it
no,
so much.
I think if you want the maple walnut, I think you'd be
Oh no, butter pecan is the one. It's the move forever and
I would.
always. I love butter pecan ice cream.
The funny thing I could say is like I went to a spot. It just opened up a couple months ago,
Mhm.
and I was like, all right, I need Sicilian pizza.
Okay.
And you're just thinking to the fact it's just going to be a Sicilian spot. You get the pizza, everything else. Well, like I walked in. There's homemade bread. There's everything imaginable for sandwiches, and I'm like, what the hell? I look over to the thing. There's the thing of ice cream. There's like 10 flavors of ice cream. I will tell you, I walked out of there with strawberry one day, and then the following week, I walked out with what was the other one I had? Reese's peanut butter cup,
Oh, races.
and it was literally mixed in. It had the small like peanut butter cups in there. I was like, There it
good
is.
stuff.
Okay. The other one, I think this is like also a New England favorite for certain people. And anybody I ask that's like they don't live in New England, they really want to ask me why. Coffee ice cream.
You know, my wife loves that. She loves coffee flavored ice cream. I don't like coffee. I actually swear to God on everything. I have never had a cup of coffee. I don't like the taste of it. I'll take sips of hers if she gets something every now and again. I don't like it. I've never had a single cup of Joe in my entire life.
There's nothing wrong with that for liking the ice cream, though.
Yeah. I don't like the taste. If it tastes like coffee, I'm not a fan. Same thing with tea. I don't like tea. Iced tea, sweet tea, unsweet tea. I don't like it. I don't like the taste. So I drink water and flavored stuff that isn't coffee or tea, and that's pretty much it.
We get a radio personality up here. He would tell you Bigelow tea would be immensely helpful, especially if you talk a lot and like you want to relax the vocal cords.
Yeah,
I will start drinking that.
If I could acquire the taste for it, I'm hoping because they say your taste buds change every like 7 years. I'm hoping, next time they change that I'm like more interested in tea, because tea specifically has a lot of like natural caffeine and it's good for you typically. Whereas like, coffee, not as much. It can be every now and again, but I would like to be able, if I'm like not feeling well, to like have a nice hot cup of tea and not hate it.
Have you tried like doing like different flavor teas, but then like
Yes.
adding like a me? If I'm not feeling good, one of the things I'll kick in is I will do like a chamomile and I will drop some honey in there, and the honey overpowers like the chamomile taste. But if I'm not feeling good, the chamomile will at least like hit the throat. It makes me feel better.
Mm-hmm.
So
yeah, I've tried them. I can't get with them. I have like my wife and my father-in-law. That's all they do is drink tea, and I'm like not exaggerating. That is what they do. They drink tea constantly, and I can't do it. Iced, regular, like I can't. It's not for me.
I get yelled at for being a Bostonian. Like I'll sit there and be like, "Iced coffee, please." Like 10 degrees out. Like, yeah, go back to fucking Florida. Shut up. What the hell's the matter with you?
Yeah, I feel that.
All right. One more question, and then what we're gonna do is we're gonna break into a little game and like at least have like a little bit of excitement, and then we'll get into the nitty gritty stuff because first hour just like regular relaxation.
Yeah.
So you've been to 6 ballparks, you said, right?
Yes.
What is your all-time biggest ballpark moment? Like something happened, you caught a ball, someone touched your hand, you felt a leg, and anything like that basically like transpired from your camera being frozen. Looks like you're literally thinking. So like just
I knew as soon as you like started the question, I instantly knew what it was. I didn't have to think at all.
Go for it. What is it?
Like has nothing to do with the game, which is the craziest thing.
Those are the best though.
I went to Baltimore. I went and I met up with Lumpy Oatmeal Gaming, and a handful of other friends, Nick Terrio, Dell Jr., Von the Nut Guy. My wife Ashley came with me. This is before we had the kid. Ironically, we actually came up with our daughter's name on the ride to Camden Yards. Her name is Camden, but we didn't choose it because of the stadium. It just kind of was a name that we're like, oh yeah, this one's really cute. We like this. And then I was like, do you realize where we're going? And she was like, what do you mean? I was like, we're driving to Camden Yards ballpark. Like, and she was like, did we just do that? And like we named our kid after a ballpark. And I was like, yeah, completely unintentionally. But the coolest thing for me, easily like ballpark memory, at that game in Baltimore, I'm wearing, I had just shaved my beard because I had just done a subathon on Twitch. And one of the sub goals was at 150 in that stream, I would shave my beard and keep a mustache. Because I typically like would always have a beard and no mustache because it didn't grow well in there. It doesn't really grow in the middle. And I have super sensitive skin. So when it would grow in here, my lip would just be really red and just super uncomfortable constantly. Hi, dear. And so I was like, all right, I had the sub goal hit, so I shaved the beard, had just a mustache, and my friends were telling me I looked like Ned Flanders from The Simpsons, which fucking hoddly doodly. But as I'm in the ballpark, I'm wearing a piece of my own merch. I had a shirt with my logo on it that said pseudo LG. And as I'm walking by, there's a kid walking past me and he says, "Oh, do you watch pseudo LG too? I'm a big fan of his." And I was like, I don't
Really?
watch him. Yeah, I was like, I don't watch him. I am him. And this dude was like a 19-year-old kid working at the ballpark. He was. I was like, I don't watch him. I am him.
So wait,
And
he's a big fan, but he doesn't recognize you?
well, I usually have a big beard. I usually had like a really husky beard, and I had nothing. I was wearing glasses, a Baltimore Orioles hat, like not my usual like SDS MLB The Show or like Pittsburgh Pirates hats, and I had no beard and had glasses on. So I looked like a completely different person if you like weren't actively paying attention to it, because I didn't upload any content after I had shaved my beard, because it was literally the subathon was one day and then we drove to Baltimore the next day. So like I had done no content about it, and so no one saw what I looked like on social media. So he and like my old logo was me without a mustache. So it was literally like I was the opposite of what I would normally look like to somebody. And I was like, no, I don't watch him. I am him. And like the guy, like the kid lit up. His name was my God, Xander. Yeah, it was started with an X. Xander. Yes, it was Xander. Shout out Xander. Sorry, it's been a bit since I've seen anything from him, so I hope he's doing okay. But yeah, it was really, really cool. He was super excited. We got a picture together. I have it on my phone. That was really, really cool. So I got recognized. This was like during the height of kind of when I was sort of starting to really pop off, and yeah, I got recognized there. I also got recognized at PNC Park by a group of kids. That was really cool. Their mom came up to me and was like, "Are you a YouTuber? My son swears he watches your baseball videos all the time." And I was just like, "Yeah." So I took a picture with a bunch of kids. There were like 5 of them, probably like age like 10 to 13. So that was really cool. But yeah, the one at Baltimore really took the cake, because I was just like so baffled that somebody recognized me.
A couple 100 miles away from home, and it's like,
Yeah.
hey, aren't you like
Yeah.
you
So
like that guy?
I ended up I bought a Baltimore Orioles shirt, and I took off the piece of merch that I had on me and I signed it and gave it to him. I was like, this is probably never going to be worth anything, but like, because you're like, I appreciate the hell out of you like watching my stuff and being a fan, like, here you go. So like I like literally signed a piece of my own merch and gave it to somebody who was like geeked to meet me. It was like it was like my dream of being a professional athlete like come to fruition for just a second, getting to like sign something for a kid, or like, you know what I mean? Like it was just a really cool moment. So that's my number one thing that isn't like actually in game related. You know, I've had some cool stuff. Like I went to my birthday when I turned 14. My sister took me out to a Chinese restaurant close to where I grew up, and it was a Chinese buffet, and they sang me happy birthday in the most beautiful Chinese accent imaginable. If you can think of how funny that would be to hear them in English singing happy birthday to Travis with heavy Asian accents, specifically Chinese. And then we went to the Pirates game after that. So I'm just like elated. And then Brandon Moss hits a walk-off grand slam. So like it was like a really cool day all in all. So that's up there. And then yeah, but like the one that was just the thing that like took me aback the most and just like blew my mind was I got recognized at a baseball stadium because of the content that I made. And I still like, I wasn't even a big name at that point, really. So it was just really, really cool.
Well,
So
I mean,
that's the one.
For granted peace. Like, I mean, even signing the merch and like giving it to him, like even if you yourself don't become big, like there are a couple guys like even I know in the comic book community, because like, you know, me owning the comic shop and running around like, you know, crazy, and then doing this for like, you know, half my world.
Yeah.
Some of the guys I know, they're not big guys. They're not like well-known artists. They're like, they don't move mountains.
Yeah.
However, having something from them and it's like, oh, Topher, I think you'd like appreciate this. I'm like, here you go. And I don't like using the word appreciate, but like, it's
Yeah.
probably the first time in months I've used it.
Mm-hmm.
But like, hey, you'll like this. I know you'll like this because we've talked about this and everything. By the way, I signed it because it's for me, that's going in the house on a wall. And if somebody goes, what the hell is that piece of crap? It's like, hey, that piece of crap is from someone I know who signed it and they gave it to me. Like, it's a gift.
Yeah.
You don't like it, get the fuck out of my house.
It doesn't have to have incremental value as long as it has sentimental value.
Right. Because any value, whether it's personal or otherwise, like you probably like right at that moment. That's a 19-year-old kid. He remembers that moment. He sucks it in. He knows exactly like everything that's happened, and he's happy as fuck.
Yeah.
I'd rather have that than like, oh look, I got a $1,500 like piece of equipment right here.
Here's something that doesn't necessarily relate to the question, but it relates to what you just said about the value. Hold on one sec. I got something really cool earlier this year, earlier last year, that I gotta share.
Whoa. He's gonna be showing off some goods. Whoa.
Okay. So I'll say what it is first and then I'll show you. Because God knows my camera is gonna lag. So one of the first games that I remembered playing a lot of with my brother was Mike Tyson's Punch-Out. So last year, my brother went down to Kennywood, which it's an amusement park in Pittsburgh, and there was an auction that he decided to enter. And my brother's super lucky. He wins a lot of stuff. I wish I had half of the luck that he has, or my wife or my father-in-law. I'm surrounded by lucky people, and I never win anything. The only thing I've ever won was my PS5. I won that in a raffle from a fire hall. But everything else I ever enter, I lose. I don't win. If it's not skill-based, I'm not winning. So he enters this raffle and he wins. And then he calls me up and he's like, hey, they sent me 2. Do you want the other one? And I was like, yeah, absolutely. So this has been until I can have a dedicated space to hang it up. This is a framed, signed picture of fighting Mike Tyson and Mike Tyson's Punch-Out, signed by Mike Tyson himself. It's trying to get it. Come on, blur. Hold on. Let me take off the camera, the background blur, so you can see this. Virtual background, none. I'm gonna be frozen for a sec, probably. Yeah.
That is the best thing I've ever seen in my life.
Yeah, and he signed it like last year. This is a new Mike Tyson signature. This isn't like something that's been sitting on a shelf. It's like authenticated and everything right here with this QR code. Like he signed it last year.
Was that before or after the sellout though? That's a better question.
It was before the Paul fight.
Okay. So it had some relevance before that moment. That's still like an amazing piece of like thing to like have.
Yeah.
Right there.
And like I love video game memorabilia. I've always told my wife once our finances start to really kick up, which hopefully with this new gig I'm getting they will. I'm gonna be a big collector of video game memorabilia and sports memorabilia because those are my things. You know, baseball stuff, get video game stuff. That's it. That's all I need. So yeah, I love that piece. Whenever, like I said, whenever I have a dedicated spot to put it, I'm gonna hang it up on my wall and it'll stay there until it doesn't. You know, but yeah, I love that. I was really excited when he called me and said he had a second one that they gave him 2 for like he was only supposed to get 1. They gave him a second one. I was like, yes, I will absolutely take that. Thank you.
Like, we're not going to say no. That's going to go somewhere.
Yeah, literally. If I said no, someone else is going to get it. And no. But yeah, that's like I said, unrelated, but really cool.
Dude, sometimes the unrelated are like actually what makes it tick.
Yeah.
Like unrelated can be completely carve-balled and you don't know what's going on. And it's like, hey, by the way, did you see this? We're talking about this. We're doing this, and it's sports and it. Dude, what the hell?
Yeah.
Like, yeah, did you ever think about like seeing that? Like how exciting that is?
It's
no.
Cool. It's really cool shit. Anyways, next question. Go ahead. Shoot. Fire. Kill me. Gimme.
Well, here we go. Cause
fist me, Tofu.
Wait. Excuse me. What was that?
Huh? What?
What? Oh.
What?
Oh.
Excuse
Whoa.
me?
So that ends tonight's show. We're gonna go to the evening edition.
Was it the fisting or the tofu? Which one broke your back?
Oh,
Which one of those was the straw
dude,
that sucked the camel's
you
cock?
you do realize that nothing has ever broken me out of the conversations we've
no.
had. Okay,
know.
nothing. Not even for our friend Dennis, who decides to just throw wormholes and everything else that are more wormholes. So I've done this once. I did it. We had Jonathan Bird on the show. Bird's an amazing dude. He lives in my hometown, grew up in my hometown. We've bonded and talked about like that stuff. He's an amazing human being. Came on, did the show. We talked about like random stuff. We talked about everything dropping and all the goods. But I hit him with like a little bit of musical stuff because I feel music strengthens when you're actually going to talk about like the serious stuff that comes in later.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm going to ask you a couple questions and you tell me like the next things that basically come in. So Travis, my question is, where does DMX lose his mind?
Oh,
these are usually simple and they're right on the tip of your tongue. But if you get them wrong, I'm not going to judge you. I'm going to slander you on TikTok, though.
Oh, I'm gonna get it wrong. I know I'm gonna get it wrong.
So where does he lose his mind?
Up in here.
Hey!
I'm like, I know what this is. Why? And then you said it again. I was like, oh my God, y'all gonna make me lose my mind. Son of a bitch.
If I had the clips prepared, I just would have been like, here you go. Like, here's the play.
I can't believe that took me that long. As soon as you said it, I'm like, I'm thinking, he wants a lyric, right? Like, and then you said it again. I was like, oh my God, I'm a dumbass. Okay. Yeah. Up in here.
It's
that's
very easy.
Yeah.
So it's the same thing as easy as to what Nelly gets stomping on.
Oh my God. You're asking me songs that were popular when I was like 7. And I'm like trying to
I did my homework maybe a little bit.
I know what they are. And it's gonna be it's gonna be the same thing as DMX, where I'm like, fuck, it doesn't come to me.
This portion of this will be clipped and it'll be thrown on like other places if you get them wrong.
Okay, give me one more time.
What did Nelly get to stomping in?
Son of a bitch. This one's gonna eat me. This one's gonna eat me.
This can also be sports related, considering what he stomps in.
Sports related, considering what he stomps in.
3 seconds.
Oh, that's not Nelly. Okay, tell me, and I will tell you if it's actually what I was gonna say.
Well, you tell me what you were gonna say, because
that's not Nelly, right?
What is it?
Air Force Ones?
Yes.
Yes. I was like, that's not Nelly. Fuck. Okay. Good. We're 2 for 2, barely by the skin of my nuts. We're 2 for 2.
He's channeling his inner chakras that like, oh my God. I can make content. I just can't get these right.
I'm like, bro. I'm like, no, that's not Nelly. The whole time I'm just like, that's not Nelly.
So this one anybody should get, especially with the time frame, the age, the everything. Okay. What did Will Smith yell to the cabbie?
Nah, forget it. Yo, home's to Bel Air.
No.
Yes. Wait.
No.
There was Dyson and Mirror. Fuck me, I haven't heard this in a long time. Hold on a second. Hold on a second. I know what this is. Like you're not taking this one from me. Smell you later.
Jesus. This is a struggle. It's a struggle. I'm going to give it to you. So
smell you later. That one I was too overzealous. I was like, oh, I know what this is. Wait a second. Hold on. There's more to this.
So for the number 4, what did Limp Bizkit do it all for?
The Nookie.
There you go.
That one. That was the easiest one.
Well, usually, the other 2 should have been easier.
Listen, I know. Okay.
Okay?
I know.
You struggled with the easiest thing while DMX losing his mind up in here.
Listen.
And then stopping in Air Force Ones, you're struggling. Listen. But then all of a sudden, what did Limp Bizkit? Oh, dude, it's easy. It was the Nookie.
I know so much music that I forget more music than most people know in their lives.
Well, then finally for the last one, then, if you really want to be like tricky. Okay. What speed did Juvenile want it in?
What speed did Juvenile want it in?
Should have actually had Jeopardy music.
What speed did Juvenile want it in?
Yeah.
I can hear it and I can't finish the lyrics. It's like it's playing in my head and I can't finish what it is. Yeah, give it to me. I'll take the L on this one.
Oh, I was the funny thing was, like, I was just queuing up the Jeopardy music to play it. Oh, Juvenile was slow motion. Yeah, you have it.
Okay. Yep.
4 to 5. We say no to that. There's nothing wrong.
Yeah, I'm cool with it. I'm happy with it.
Listen to my Jerry Seinfeld voice. It was good. You did it right. Hey, you did 4 to 5. You won, buddy.
What's the deal with airplane peanuts?
What's the deal with these Air Force Ones? The guy couldn't get it. What the fuck?
Hey, what are you doing?
He couldn't get his mind up in here. I don't know what was happening. Oh, this is where we have fun and shit. Who cares?
Fucking A.
Oh. So,
I'll take 4 out of 5, considering I was like close to biffing all of them.
Listen, even Meatloaf said 2 out of 3 ain't bad. So, like,
That's true.
you added a little bit more.
So
you did better than Meatloaf.
Meatloaf said that, and Meatloaf was in Tenacious D, so he gets plus 500 brownie points for me.
Oh, that Meatloaf. I do like a good meatloaf.
Same here.
Oh,
Ma, the meatloaf. All right, shoot. Next, what's going on? Hit me.
We'll stay on ballparks and everything like that, and then probably by like the 20 minutes of the 2-hour mark, we'll like actually go into something a little bit special that I know hits Trav's heart, and because I know like this one's probably going to be like a barn burner for like what are you going to talk about?
Okay.
So baseball content. We know you're a baseball. You know ball. You know everything else. Okay. If you had to look at the teams with the upgrades, the everything like that that's happened, everybody that's actually been through, already their spring training, they're getting ready, they're about to like introduce everything as it goes. If you had to pick 5 teams right now that you would say, watch these guys, they're going to be in contention, who would you pick?
Are these okay? Are these teams that you might not anticipate being in contention, or are these like including the obvious ones like the LA Dodgers or like the Yankees, for example, like the teams that should be obviously playoff contenders?
these could be, hey, I'm thinking Mets Dodgers already in there. See you later. Good night. But here's my, the reason why I did 5 is because there's usually multiple teams that are already destined to be in there because they're doing good.
Yeah.
They got their moment. So I want to know who you think, to the fact, just in case of sleeper teams or otherwise, who you think is going to like knock it in.
Okay. Arizona was the best offense in baseball last year, and they are being heavily underrated. I think they added Corbin Burns. There is a world where Jordan Montgomery returns to form, and then that gives them another like top 3 rotation style arm to go along with Zach Gallen, who's an ace level pitcher, Corbin Burns, who's an ace level pitcher, Merrill Kelly, who's a solid middle of the rotation guy, Brandon Pafat, who looks like he's got a ton of promise. And they have that offense to boot, especially in a year where Corbin Carroll looks like he's going to bounce back after a strong spring. I think Arizona is a big team to look out for. A team I'm not as concerned about in a way is San Diego. I feel like they downgraded a lot, and I feel like they're going to look to trade some pitchers at the deadline, specifically Michael King or Yu Darvish if he's healthy. So I feel like they've dropped a couple pegs for me. Obviously, the Los Angeles Dodgers, they have the best roster in baseball. If they don't make the playoffs or underperform, it will be a colossal failure. Having Ohtani, Freeman, Betts. They obviously got Yamamoto. They signed Roki Sasaki, the young phenom from Japan, who he has some stuff to figure out. And I think it would be smart for them to let him figure it out in AAA for a little bit, for like a month or two, and then bring him to the big league roster, because he will be an impact player immediately whenever he figures it out. It's just, is he going to be able to control the baseball? Really, that's going to be the big thing for him. So Los Angeles and Arizona, those are 2 teams from the National League West that I both think will be in the playoffs. I think, obviously, I think the Dodgers win the division, at the Diamondbacks will be the first overall wild card spot. If we just go divisionally, Milwaukee always seems to win the NL Central, even though I think they are heavily overrated. They just always seem to have good fortune. If things ever don't go their way, they will be like a bottom of the barrel team, even in a lowly NL Central. They have a pitching staff that I've seen people raving about as like, oh wow, this could be one of the best staffs in baseball, when like they added Nestor Cortez and stuff. And I looked I looked up and down their rotation from last year, and I'm an analytics guy. Yes, I like surface value stats, surface level stats. I like counting stats and things like that, but I'm also like an OPS/OPS plus kind of guy when it comes to hitters. I'm also a ERA, but I'm also a fielding independent pitching kind of guy, which means like, what was your ERA basically if you didn't have a good defense behind you, or if you had a bad defense behind you, would your ERA would have been higher than what your FIP was, or like things like that. So 3 out of the 5 starting pitchers in the Brewers rotation had a FIP that was over 1 whole point higher than what their ERAs were. So that was Freddie Peralta, Nestor Cortez Jr., and Aaron Savali, I think, is the other guy. They all had fielding independent pitching stats that were in the mid to high 4s, while they all finished with ERAs in the mid to high 3s. So those are 3 guys that were immensely lucky last year because they had a good defense behind them. And if something falters, they can very easily fall back down the peg. Brandon Woodruff is another guy people really talk about. He's been injured for the better part of 2 years. Yes, he's dominant when he's healthy, but I don't necessarily anticipate him being super dominant after missing basically 2 years. He's never been a guy that throws hard. He's always been pretty deceptive, so maybe he will be able to be successful like that. But guys with injuries like his that have been on the shelf for as long as him, it's hard for them to come back and be really effective. So I think he's going to have a rougher season than people are anticipating. But Milwaukee, I think, has to be the favorite currently in the NL Central. I think Cincinnati sucks. I think St. Louis sucks. The Cubs, the Cubs made a lot of additions, but they just don't, even with a good team on paper, they don't feel like a team that's going to do much. They might surprise me, but they're going to go as like the superstars go. I think Justin Steele's a bit overrated as a starter. Shota Imanaga had a great year last year. I think he's going to see a bit of regression because there's always like little cracks. You know what I mean? He's an older pitcher. I think he's like 30. He's older, right? I think Shota Imanaga is an older guy. I think he was a rookie at 32 last year, if I'm not mistaken. So I think he's 33. Justin Steele, like I said, I think he's a bit overrated. Some of their other pitchers, Jamison Tyon, he's a decent middle of the pack kind of guy, like a number 4 starter, nothing special. They have a solid bullpen. I like their bullpen a lot. I think offensively they added some nice pieces. So I think the Cubs could be a team that takes over in the NL Central as well. It's going to be between them and Milwaukee. The Pirates, this is just like me being a fan of the team, and I'm smoking all the hopium and copium that I physically can. They should have added offense. Ben Cherington is an idiot and does not deserve to have a job. But
we found that out the hard way.
Yeah, you guys found that out the hard way. But he at least got you a World Series. We're not even sniffing the playoffs with this dumbass. But yeah, they should have added offense this offseason. They didn't. They signed Tommy Pham. And that just kind of tells you what a laughing stock we are. But they have a really well put together bullpen, which it didn't seem like it was going to be that way. Prior to last year, the last 3 seasons before last year, the Pirates had a top 5 to 10 bullpen in baseball every year. And most of that bullpen from 2023 was there in 2024, and they struggled early, which kind of ballooned the numbers. And then you had additions like Aroldis Chapman. Chapman had like a 6 ERA through the first 2.5 months of the season, and then the rest of the year had like a 2. So it's like the team ERA, as far as the bullpen was concerned, was inflated heavily in the early part of the season, and then they were really good down the stretch. The 2 that weren't, unfortunately, were our setup man and our closer, Colin Holderman and David Bednar. So had those guys not faltered, the Pirates down the stretch last year would have had one of the best bullpens in baseball, and it would have changed the outlook of their season. People are forgetting, entering the All-Star break last year, coming out of it, the Pirates were above 500. They were 2 games up. They were 48 and 46. All they had to do was make a couple moves to add to the offense. And as long as they just continued playing the ball they had been playing for the past 2 months before that, they would have been a playoff team. They were neck and neck with Arizona and San Diego. And then what happened was in August, they ran into both Arizona and San Diego, who were both on hot streaks, and they couldn't cool them off. They blew games late. They had a lead, I think, in every game. In 5 out of the 6 games they played against San Diego, and they lost all 6. And then, a lead late. So, they have Paul Skeens. Jared Jones apparently got hurt yesterday, and he's getting an opinion on his elbow. So I'm really hoping that turns out to be like he can just take some time off and he'll be all right, do some rehab, whatever. But even without him, who could be a stud, we have Bubba Chandler waiting in the wings. Thomas Harrington, who looks like he's going to be a really, really good starting pitcher. He's just a smart guy. He's not super overpowering. He does throw hard. He's got good stuff, but he's just fucking smart on the bump. Mitch Keller always has a great first half. If he could figure out the second half of the season where he keeps putting up 5 ERAs, if he could just match what he does in the first half or come close, that's a low to mid 3 ERA starting pitcher. That's a really solid 2, 3, 4, like ideally 3, I think is his perfect spot in the rotation. Bailey Falter came out last year as a solid lefty. Johan Oviedo's out for a little bit, but he's got all the talent in the world. They picked him up from St. Louis a few years ago. And then they signed Andrew Heaney, who he's had a bad spring, but he never has a good spring. So I'm not like concerned about him. He also got a late start. He'll probably be fine. He'll fill in nicely as the number 5 guy. If the offense can hit, they have a couple guys progress. O'Neal Cruz, I think he's a superstar level talent. If he can take that step forward, Brian Reynolds is an 800 OPS or plus kind of guy. He can be really solid for them. McCutcheon's a great veteran to have. I wish he wasn't there all time. I wish he wasn't the full-time DH, but it kind of is what it is. Henry Davis, if he can figure it out. Jack Sawinski, if he rebounds. Like, there's a lot of things that if they roll in the Pirates' favor, they will win the NL Central. And that might be a hot take, but they have talent-wise, as far as arms are concerned, they have the best pitching staff. It's just a matter of guys being healthy and going from there. Like, I'm including the bullpen in that. They have the best pitching staff. It's going to be if they can hit. If they have a, let's say, middle of the pack, like number 15 offense, they will win the NL Central. I'm like confident in saying that. So yeah, I would say It's between Milwaukee, Chicago, and Pittsburgh. Pittsburgh, I love as the dark horse because I think they have the most talented arms. It's just going to depend on the offense. But if I'm going with like a safe bet, Milwaukee is going to win the Central. So that'll be, we'll call them the third team behind LA and Arizona. So that's the NL West, NL Central. NL East is kind of a toss up. I'm going to go with Atlanta. I like Philly. I like Philly a lot. Actually, now piss off Atlanta. I'm going with Philadelphia. Philadelphia's starting rotation is disgusting. It is actually terrifying. So it's hard for me to bet against them. They have a lot of high powered hitters. Harper, Schwarber, Castellanos. Brandon Marsh had a solid year last year, I think. JT Realmuto has historically been a solid catch. Like, they have bats and they have a really good starting pitching staff. So I'm going to go with those 4 teams. And then if we're looking at 3 from the American League, I'll pick, I can even do a 4th. I can go like a wild card team. Kansas City, I think, wins the AL Central. Bobby Witt Jr. just keeps ascending. Their pitching staff is really good. They have some really good offense. Jack Caglione, their top pick last year, he's going to come up sometime this season and just crush it. That guy's got all the talent in the world. Big fan of his, so I think he's going to do super great for them when they call him up, hopefully sooner than later. The American League East, that's tough. I think Boston.
My world.
I think Boston added some good pieces. Garrett Crochet, I think, is going to be a Cy Young candidate. He's also the guy that I keep telling everybody that I've talked to, like, hey, if you have some extra stubs laying around in the show right now, buy a bunch of him because he's a gold going for like 1,300 stubs. That dude's going to be selling for like 10K pretty quickly. Because I think he's going to shoot up pretty fast. So, I think Boston could be an interesting team. I like some of their young guys, Roman Anthony, Marcelo Meyer, I think is really, really impressive. So they're a fun one. The Yankees, the thing is, they go as Aaron Judge goes. As we see in the playoffs, they go as he goes. If he's on a cold streak, they do not play well. They've taken 2 big blows to their pitching staff with Garrett Cole being out and Luis Gil being out for a while. Carlos Rodon hasn't been the guy he used to be since he joined them. Max Fried could be really good for them. I think he has the best ERA out of qualified pitchers since 2020. So he's been really impressive. So that's actually a huge get for them. But I think with the injuries they've sustained to the pitching staff, they're going to have to rely on guys like Marcus Stroman, who I've never been a big fan of him. And I think the offense is kind of lackluster. They should have added pieces and they didn't. So I think the AL East is going to come between Toronto, Baltimore, and Boston out of all of them. And I think it's more so Toronto and Boston, because Toronto, I think they have a really high-powered offense. They have some good arms. Baltimore has a high-powered offense, but their starting pitching staff is so weird to me. I don't trust 60% of it. There's going to be a lot of opportunity for younger guys like Cade Povich to maybe rebound and show the stuff that made him a top prospect for them. So if I have to pick one, I'm going to go Boston because I think their pitching is stronger and they have a lot of bats waiting in the wings to be called up, like with Anthony Meyer and there's another prospect I'm forgetting. It's really good. I'm drawing a blank on who. Second baseman Christian Campbell. Those 3 guys I think are all really, really good offensive prospects that will help them a lot this year because I think they'll all be called up. So I'll go Boston AL East, and then American League West. You have, they're kind of weird too. You have the Angels who aren't very good. You have the Rangers who weren't good last year. You have the Astros who always find a way to be good, but they're doing some weird things, like Altuve in left field that has not looked very good. And then you look at the Oakland Athletics, who sneakily were a good team down the stretch last year. And also sneakily, they made some decent additions. The thing that I think is going to hurt them the most as far as the pitching is concerned is they're playing in a minor league ballpark that is a hitter's ballpark. Like Sacramento is a PCL stadium, and that is known for just generating offense. So sure, they signed guys like Luis Severino. They traded for a guy like Jeffrey Springs, who is very, very solid. But are these guys going to be able to be really good in a stadium that is known for hampering pitchers? It could be kind of like a Colorado situation for a couple of years where, yeah, they might have some talented arms, but they're getting beat around because they're playing in a stadium where the ball's just going to fly. So I like Oakland a lot. Actually, I like the makeup of their roster. I think they're really improving. By the time they get to Vegas, they're going to be a really, really good team. But I guess for the AL West, you kind of have to go with the golden goose, and that would be the Houston Astros. They've been there for a long time, cheating or not. They've been there. That's they've just been there for nearly the last decade. They have been a playoff team every year. So it's hard to bet against them. So I guess my wild card pick would be the Detroit Tigers. I think they are super talented in the pitching department as well. They added a couple bats like Gleyber Torres, Spencer Torkelson. If he could figure it out at the big league level, he would make them so much scarier. But Riley Green, Kerry Carpenter, who I think is an absolute stud. So I would say from the American League, we're going to go Houston Astros, Kansas City Royals, Boston Red Sox, Detroit Tigers. And then from the National League, we're going to go with the Philadelphia Phillies, the Milwaukee Brewers, the Los Angeles Dodgers, and then the Arizona Diamondbacks. Those will be the top 4 teams from each East and West. To me, I think those are the picks. Like I said, there are things that could change. The NL Central is very volatile. So like I said, I could see any of Chicago, Milwaukee, or Pittsburgh winning that division. I don't think Cincinnati's pitching is very strong. People are raving about them, but the only half decent arm they have is Hunter Green. Everybody else is going to have like a 4+ ERA. They're not going to be very good. At least I just don't think so. I'd have to like take a real deep look at their depth chart again to kind of like reevaluate that. But they have some guys that could be good that just haven't been. And like Nick Lodolo comes to mind instantly. He's a guy that he's super talented, but he just hasn't done it at the big league level. So I don't trust their pitching staff to help them out a ton. They'll have a good offense, but I don't think they'll pitch. So I think the NL Central will be one of those 3 teams, but I'm more confident about Milwaukee just because they always seem to have everything go right for them. And yeah, so those are my 10 or 8. So if I had to like expand to 10, I would say the Pirates or the Cubs would be the other wild card team in the National League. And then in the American League, it would probably be the Texas Rangers or
Thinking hard now.
I guess Baltimore or no, Toronto. Toronto would be the team from the AL East that I said behind Boston. So I would say if I was going to 10, it would be including Pittsburgh or Chicago, and then in the American League it would be Toronto. So those would be my 1/3 of the league that's going to make the playoffs.
Yeah, and I agree with like what you say about the NL Central, because like it's easy to just, hey, Milwaukee wins because nobody like in the Central has even been. You get some people that are close too, but like enough of them lose enough games to where like none of them like they're not teams that carry themselves over.
Yeah.
And it's kind of disappointing because like all it takes is just one of those teams in the Central to get a right back, get a good pitcher, like stay healthy, stay in tuned, and then all of a sudden it's like win, and then they're off to the races, and you're sitting there going, Milwaukee's not in first. Great.
If Pittsburgh would just add 1 or 2 like legitimate impact bats, they'd be easily the best team in the Central. But they just refuse to make that move for some reason.
And that's disappointing because like when you as yourself as a fan, to the fact that like, oh man, all I got to do is add this, or just go out and get it. It's not like football where it's like really hard to like decipher with multiple pieces between offense and defense. These are guys you can sit here and go, okay, what do we need? We need a bat.
Yep.
He's mid, but he's better than what we had. Let's bring him aboard. That's simple. Hey, did you add a bat? Yes. Is he going to be the best thing in the world? Maybe not. But he might be also where you need it versus where you don't have it.
In most cases, you don't need a guy to be like a 1,000 OPS Aaron Judge type hitter. You just need a guy that can go up there and hit 280 and hit you 20 home runs. You don't necessarily need guys that are going to hit 300 or 320 and slug 600. Like, you don't need that. You need guys that can go up there and can put out consistent at bats and drive in some runs. Like the Pirates are running out there this season with Isaiah Kiner Falefa as their shortstop, a guy who has proven time and time again he does not have the arm to play that position. They're running out Ke'Bryan Hayes, who, yes, he has missed a ton of games, but even with him missing a ton of games, he's been their most valuable player since the start of the 2020s, which is ridiculous to say because of how poor he's been offensively, except for one half season. He's 27, 28 years old. He's got a bad back, which really sucks. And he's a guy that's never lived up to his offensive potential, but he's one of the best third basemen in baseball defensively ever. And I like, it's not just like a last couple of years kind of thing. That's an ever, like he is a historically good defensive third baseman. But you can't run out the left side of your infield or when they're both guys that are going to have like a 650 OPS. It's really hard to justify that no matter how good defensively they are, because then the rest of your offense just has to be that much better. And they got Spencer Horwitz from Toronto, who I think could be solid, but he's probably best as a platoon guy. He's not going to be a superstar first base caliber player. You have Cruz, who could be an MVP candidate. You have Reynolds, who will could really be an all-star player. You have Jack Sawinski, who hit 26 home runs and had an 800 OPS just 2 seasons ago, and people gave up on him. And he's looked great in the spring, which I don't usually take spring training stats into account, but he's looked fantastic. The swing looks better. He looks like he's in a better place. So if he bounces back, that's 25 home runs added to an offense that is typically really devoid of power. If Tommy Pham can be a decent vet, like they have the pieces in place in a lot of spots, but there are also positions like shortstop and third base where it feels like there's nothing that's going to go right for them at those 2 spots for me.
Do you feel like and this is just me, because like I'm one of the guys that, like, when I look at individual players, Brian Reynolds seems like one of those guys that, like, he really carries the clubhouse. He's very good for like who he is. He puts up numbers that would basically be an all-star caliber person, but it's like every once in a while he just comes up short. And is that typical for like a guy like that? Do you see, like, with support around him, that he can do that?
I don't see him as a guy that comes up short. Honestly, he's typically like pretty clutch. The thing is, I think, he's been really the only threat in the lineup for a few years now. And that hurts his performance. It hurts anybody's performance when you're not surrounded by other guys that can actually score some runs, drive in some runs. Typically you're going to struggle to put the numbers you could. Prior to 2023, Reynolds, including at his time in college in the minor leagues, had 7 straight seasons where he hit over 300 and had an OPS of 900. And that includes his first 2 seasons in Pittsburgh. So actually first 3 seasons, I think. So if he could get back to closer to his 2022 form, have a mid 800s OPS in a half decent lineup, like a guy like him with a guy like O'Neal Cruz, Joey Bart, who had a nice year last year, if he proves to be legit, which in the spring he's looked every bit of it, they really could figure it out really quick. And Reynolds, I think, is going to be a big part of that. Defensively, he hasn't been what he was earlier in his career, which, not saying he's old, but that does happen every now and again. Hopefully the move to right field will help him. His arm was a bit better last year than it had been in years past. So hopefully that's something that, he can continue to improve on a little bit, and that'll be a big boost for him in right field. But it's one of those things. I don't think he's overrated. I don't think he comes up short. I think he's genuinely a really, really solid all-star caliber player that all he needs is a couple better pieces around him. And he can be a guy that when you get to October, that he can put the offense on his back if needed, or when you get to, the middle stretch of the season, that usually during the summer, he goes on a big tear. Like last year, I think June and July, he hit 330 combined. So he's a guy that he performs when he needs to. And if you can put him on a team that's going to win, a team that's going to be competitive, I think he's going to elevate, and he's going to really put his best foot forward. And as long as he's not super unlucky, he'll be a guy that's back in that 825 to 875 OPS range. I wholeheartedly believe that. I think he's an extremely, extremely talented player. Offensively, defensively, it's up and down, but offensively, I think he's very, very talented.
No, that's where I'm agreeing with you. It's just for me, I've seen with a player like that, when you look at him in certain ways, can he be elevated with the talent around him? Yes. Have you seen the talent around him in order to elevate him? Not really.
Yeah.
So if they have the talent around him this year, and he can actually make that step up to where me and you could talk about this because I actually believe in Brian Roberts. I actually think like, he's a really good ball player. I like watching him. And I'm not saying that because I have a Pirates fan on the
Yeah.
podcast either, you know.
Yeah, just like I didn't say that I think Boston's going to win the division because I'm on this. Yeah. Because I'm on the show. Yeah.
Yeah. But for me, it's could I see like Brian Roberts, like, you know, where you hear him in trade talks and where you hear, oh, hey, like, you know, you could trade for a guy like Brian Roberts, but you don't talk about him during the season and he's not moving the needle to be that one guy that people go, oh man, Brian Roberts is awesome.
I hope nobody trades for Brian Roberts. That man hasn't played in a while.
You know who I meant.
I know, that's what made it funnier.
Yep.
Yeah, no, I think
I'll just sit here now.
like, I'll just go fuck myself. Yeah, no, I think like he strikes me as a guy that, like, if somebody, I don't think anyone's going to trade for him because I don't think he's going to be available, especially if the Pirates are good. There's no reason for them to even think about trading him. But he's a guy to me that I feel like he is a guy that you could add to most teams in the league and he would instantly make them significantly better as a ball club. And no matter where he was at, left field, right field, DH, he's taken some reps at first base. I think he's a guy that makes a team exponentially better, regardless of where it is, where they play, who they are, whatever, you know. Because that's the thing, like, you see all these superstar players that have these high, like 800, 900,000 OPS seasons. And when you compare the number of guys that have those years to the number of guys that don't at the big league level, it's kind of like an astronomical difference. There are significantly more players that have a 7 to 799 OPS than 8 plus. And Reynolds is a guy that can be one of those 800 to 900 OPS players. He's proven it at different points in his career. So I think he is an impact bat. I think at this point, like, if he's in an opportunity or in a position where he knows they have an actual chance to win, like after Skeens came up and they started playing better is when he started turning it up. And that's when he hit really well the rest of the way through the season. Like the first month and a half of the year, he didn't look good. And then Skeens came up. Jones was pitching well. Keller was throwing the ball well. They were playing good baseball. And all of a sudden, Brian Reynolds is super hot and helping to carry the offense over the summer. So that's all they need. That's all they need is him to be a solid player. They don't need him to be a superstar. They just need him to be an above average outfielder offensively. And that would be huge for them.
Yeah, like that's a small thing, like where like it leads me into my next question, which for you, you know, you went into like a lot of analytics, which I like because I'm not an analytics guy. Yeah. I just know like, hey, I can see that guy. I see how he pitches. I see how he forms. And people talk to me and like, I'll bring it up in methods to where like, you know, here in Boston, and we talked about it before we even went live. People talked about Jackie Bradley being like one of the better defensive people in the league. And you know, like, oh man, this kid's gonna be hot, and this kid's gonna be like nice and fresh. And yeah, he had Boston like pretty much sprinkled with pixie dust that he was like the best thing in the planet. But then when you watch him play, it's like, dude, when you have the worst average since the 1920s, dude, don't even talk to me about him being great. Like, yes, he has moments, and moments can make or break like a lot of things. But when you look at him as an overall, and you don't want to trade him, but you trade Mookie Betts. Can I look at that? Yes.
Yeah, that's still one of the craziest things they've ever done.
No, not really. Trust me. There was a segment on this show that like, it was me, and I'm like, okay, what's the weirdest friggin' trades? And you know what was one of the top ones that were on there? So Jackie Bradley being traded back to Boston was one of the ones that like
that one never made sense. Knew why.
And if they even weird. Say like, oh, it was money wise, like no, like you had Hunter Renfroe that was cheaper. Yeah. You had Hunter Renfroe that was a better hitter.
Well, I've heard a lot of bad things about Renfroe in the clubhouse. I've heard he has a really bad clubhouse rep. So that probably
You
had
didn't see. You
to
didn't
play
see
into
it
it.
when he was in Boston. He seemed fine in Boston. Like people liked him here in Boston.
Well,
So
yeah,
when they pulled the trigger to trade him, it was like, wait a minute, what the hell did you just do?
it's because you know why. It's the racism.
That's why Benintendi went out the door, because like you know,
It's the
he
Boston
did.
racism, dude.
That's it. You're a white guy. We don't like you. Get out. So really quick, we'll do 5 minutes on this. So give me 3 or 4 players to watch that are basically like, you know, like you're on the radar, you're looking at them. I know you mentioned one guy from the Dodgers. You mentioned a couple guys from like other places.
Yeah.
You mentioned 2 or 3 of our guys here in Boston. Just knowing to the fact that, like, you know, just a good carry. What would be 3 guys that if you're gonna like go off and watch, these guys are like the guys to watch, and like this is why you want to watch them?
Man, that's tough because there are so many great players. Just kind of looking around the league, obviously there's like the superstar guys. I could say, you know, if you want to see a true superstar, go to New York and watch Aaron Judge play baseball in the regular season. Don't go in October. A man cannot play in October. Don't go. It's proven he can't do it. But regular season, go see Judge. But you know, if you like great pitching, come to Pittsburgh, see Paul Skeens. Go to Boston, see Garrett Crochet. Go to I'm trying to think. Ohtani, obviously in LA, but I think I'm actually more interested in Ohtani as a hitter than a pitcher. And I think that health wise, it's going to be interesting to see how he comes back as a pitcher. Because guys with 2 TJs, with 2 Tommy Johns are almost never successful. You know, Jacob deGrom coming back off of 2 Tommy John surgeries in Texas. That's another one that's a big one to watch. You never know. Like if he's the old deGrom, then shit, you know, that kind of rewrites the history of that surgery. So yeah, I'll go. If you're looking for pitching, you know, Skeens, Garrett Crochet are 2 that really pop out to me instantly. And if you're thinking of hitting, you know, I harken back to him. He's going to start the year in AAA probably, or some AA or something, and shoot up pretty quickly. But Jack Caglione from the Royals, I think that guy is immensely talented. That guy is going to be a 40, 50, 60 home run potential bat at the major league level. I think he's so impressive. And then one more bat, maybe. I'm trying to think of somebody that's just like really, really solid. It's just he's a pro's pro. He's somebody that's really enjoyable to watch.
Even be someone that you don't even think is going to be anything, but this year could be their year. You know, they always have the who's the breakout star, who's the money guy.
I'm just trying to think of somebody who's just a solid player. He's fun to watch. He plays the game the right way. You know what? Adley Rutschman, the catcher for the Baltimore Orioles. He's a guy that he hasn't lived up to the hype he showed in his rookie season just yet. But if he can put it together offensively, that guy is, I think he's already basically the best defensive catcher in baseball. He's pretty much right there if he's not. If he can get the offense together to be up to par with what the defense is and has been, he's one for me. He's a talented guy and he plays the game the right way. He plays hard day in, day out. I like Adley a lot. Jackson Holiday is a fun one to watch for Baltimore too. He's a fun one to watch. If he can figure it out, that kid's going to be really fun.
I would actually say, like, going back to like one of the things somebody wowed me with was Mookie Betts playing shortstop this year.
Yeah, that's an interesting one.
So just watching to the fact of like what is going to go down with that, how he's going to interact, and how that's actually going to pan out, because he hasn't played shortstop since college.
Yeah, he wasn't good at it last year in the spring, and then they put him at second. He was good at second base, but he wasn't good at short in the spring. So we'll see. I don't know what he's done there this spring. I haven't kept as many tabs on him, but if he's playing well, then you never know.
Yeah, I mean, like they could be like, a nice good grab, and who the heck knows?
Yeah.
Well, to start a closeout on this, there is one of the little tidbits of Travis that I know that we might want to talk about, because it is the season. No, it's not the season of giving.
Is it the season of
is-
receiving?
Well,
Oh no.
I'm still waiting for that in Patriots land. I'm still waiting for the receivers to come into play.
I'm waiting for someone to throw to the receivers in fucking Pittsburgh.
Listen,
anyway, sorry, go ahead.
You don't have to deal with Russell Wilson anymore.
Yeah, but they might sign Aaron Rodgers. So,
oh,
it's not like it's getting better. I want them to tank and draft Arch Manning in 2 seasons. Anyways, go ahead.
Ooh.
I think I've learned, history has told us, do not bet against a quarterback named Manning. Tank and take him in 2026, and they will win a couple Super Bowls. That's my hill.
I said this as a Patriots fan, and of course, like, for how many times we battled Peyton, and for how many times we lost twice against
Eli.
Now I can't.
Eli.
Thank you.
Yeah.
Oh my god. He gets to be
Eli, some call
him. The way to look at it is that I said if Arch Manning comes in and he starts his ball and he does everything he does, I think he's going to be better than both of them.
He very well could be.
He's got the best of both worlds. He's like Dad, though.
Yep.
Like he reminds me of Dad. When you look at Dad, he was a movable quarterback. He didn't sit too much in the pocket. He had no fear about what he did. Peyton had the arm and Eli had the smarts, and now to the fact that you've got Arch Manning. Oh.
Yeah. And you think about it, Arch he's the son of the most athletic Manning. Like his dad, Cooper, was the best. He was the most talented player. He was going to be a wide receiver, and then they found out he had a some kind of disease, I think it was, when he got to college, and that ruined his career. Or that guy would have probably ended up being like one of the best receivers ever. He's uber talented. He was the most talented football player in the Manning family tree, and never saw a professional snap. So I think Arch being his son is a big thing. I think the athleticism is gonna be there.
And that's what I'm like looking forward to.
Yeah.
But no, I'm not also talking about that. It's WrestleMania season, buddy.
Oh yeah, it is.
Look at you now, like you're all excited. Yeah. Like we just went into. I'm gonna I'm talking like I'm gonna cut a promo for like about a minute. To all of a sudden, it's like, oh my god, wrestling ASMR,
dude. Listen,
listen
to me. You listen. One thing I want to do when I actually have time to do it is I want to also make wrestling content, because I love wrestling. I've always been a big fan of WWE. AEW is not my cup of tea nowadays. I loved it the first 3 years, and then 2020, like late 22 onward, has not been very good. But the first 3 years of AEW, I thought it was fantastic. They haven't really tickled me pink for a while now. But I love professional wrestling. So, all right, go ahead. WrestleMania season, let's do it.
So there's a couple predictionable matches. There's a couple like already like on the card and everything like that. And you've got WrestleMania. Like, where is it going? Vegas, baby. And it's still the 2 days. Like, look at how excited he is. Oh my god, we're gonna go a couple minutes over the 2 hours. I don't care, because look at this. Like Travis right now, like I'm sitting over there. He looks like a kid in a candy store.
Yeah,
he's just like, wrestling.
I don't talk wrestling publicly too much, so like when it's usually just like with my friends and we're just bullshitting. But like when someone brings it up and it's like a public forum, I love talking about wrestling, dude.
Yeah. I'll have to know this next time, like when I actually get to, because there's a thing, like I'm planning on doing like a whole wrestling show, because WrestleMania will basically end probably about the same time I'm going on to do the Sunday show.
Mhm.
So it for me, it's going to be like really, really exciting. Um, it just to take off also what you said, like story arcs and everything that have been in WWE versus AEW. It's like a night and day. Like someone switched an on-off switch, and it was really hyped. It was really good to like actually catch the attracted wrestling fan. Hey, come watch AEW. We're something a little different. We're something a little spicy.
Yep.
And now it's just become. Some people have said it's basically overpopulated. It's a little bit more where you
It's
can't
American
control
New
it.
Japan. That's all it's all
Yeah,
it's become. It's just American New Japan Pro Wrestling, which that inherently isn't a bad thing. I like New Japan Pro Wrestling, but it doesn't necessarily work to an American audience for the most part.
no, because you get the diehard you get the diehard guy who like knows about New Japan. You get the guys who know like the Lucha Undergrounds and like
Yep.
everything like that that goes on in Mexico.
Yep.
Those are
Triple
the
A.
hardcore guys, yeah, like the hardcore guys that focus on that stuff that used to focus on and like the like southern like parts where WWE was only up in the north. And then you had like I want to say Dave Crockett, but I know it's not.
Yeah,
Um,
it's Jim Crockett Promotions.
yes, see that's why I said I didn't want to say Dave.
Look,
Um,
this might be a hot take. People that see this might hate me for it, but I love Jim Cornette, and I listen to Jim Cornette talk about Jim Crockett a lot. So
he's a brilliant mind though. Like when you listen to
he's
Jim
one of the
Cornette,
best
he
wrestling
knows his
minds
shit.
ever. One of the greatest wrestling minds to ever exist. I don't care what people think about what he thinks about the current wrestling landscape. I know he doesn't really care for women's wrestling, and that's a big point of contention for a lot of people. And the funny thing is when people like get on him and call him like a racist or like say that he's like they say all this shit about him that's like viewed negatively based on the way they spin it, but then it comes like, and I don't want to talk politics, but like it comes to the time of like the elections, and he's like, if you fucking idiots vote for Donald Trump, fuck you. And it's like all the people that hate him are people that also hate Donald Trump, and it's just such a funny conundrum to see like on the internet. People are like, Jim Cornette's a racist. He probably likes Donald Trump, and then like you show him a video of like him shitting on Trump, and then they're just like, well, fuck him. He doesn't like women's wrestling. Like the goalposts are constantly moving. You know what I mean? So I hate the internet because it gave everyone a voice. Not that I don't think everyone's entitled to their own opinion, but you can have your opinion and not have the voice to fucking spew your dumb shit to the world. and like there are a lot of really dumb people in the IWC, the internet wrestling community, especially on X/Twitter. And I see them all the time, and it just drives me up a fucking wall. So, anyway, continue.
I know.
I keep going off on these fucking tangents, but I love talking wrestling. So,
well, for me, like I see it when like I'm sitting there, like hey, I'm excited for this movie, and I want to like know more about it. And then someone goes, "Oh, this person's gonna star in the movie." Like, why are you gonna do this clickbait? Like, what do you want? 50 cents? Like, listen, I'll mail it to you. Shut up.
It's like the people that are like, wrestling's fake, right? And I'm like, it's not fake. It's scripted, asshole.
There's a huge difference.
Like you like
did
movies
you get hit
and
in the
TV,
chair?
don't
No.
you? You like movies? You like television? Yeah.
That's
Why?
fake.
Oh, they're also scripted. How about you eat my asshole?
No, those are fake movies. You gotta stay away from the fake movies.
Do you think Jason Statham really killed a megalodon? You dumb fuck.
Yeah, Will Smith really saved us from aliens.
He did, dude.
On the 4th of July. And then did it again like a couple years later.
Yeah, dude, twice.
What the fuck is the matter with you?
That's why they haven't come back.
No, they came back again. It was horrible.
Anyways, sorry. Go ahead.
So yeah, like with WrestleMania season around the way, like I do like my wrestling. I like to like have a nice good conversation, like you say, like you're talking with the boys and everything. But like when it comes to here, Boston Concessions is sports related. Can you go on the shelf and pick it up and Hey, I want to talk about this. Abso-freaking-lutely.
Yeah.
So I haven't talked about this, and like I haven't had anybody on the show in order to talk about it yet. The guy you can see, because yep, that's off the board and everything. How like, do you feel this heel turn is does it feel right?
Yeah, and I'd like to throw out there, I am one of the only people that said it was going to happen.
What
I
are you talking
said,
about? There's a whole message board that said it was going to happen from like
"Mm,
5 years ago.
not, I mean, when it happened just now. This was, I got called crazy. I was told I was a fucking idiot and didn't know what I was talking about because I said, okay, I was like, one of two things is going to happen. I said, it's either going to be CM Punk wins the Elimination Chamber, goes on to WrestleMania to challenge Cody Rhodes. Cody comes out, shakes his hand. The Rock comes out. He's like, Cody, what's your decision? Cody says no. And then The Rock says, I always have a plan B. And Cody instantly turns and looks at CM Punk. And Punk is like, it's not me. Like, I'm not doing that to you. Like, we're friends. A real friend stabs you in the front. I'm not going to stab you in the front. Like he always says, a real friend will stab you in the front. He said that to Cody like 3 different times in promos. And then John Cena's music hits. And the only person, the second biggest man in Hollywood, the only one that needs, like, could potentially make John Cena any bigger is Dwayne The Rock Johnson. He's the only one that can make Cena bigger than Cena is. He's the only one that can guarantee he can give Cena that 17th world title, giving him the record in World Wrestling Entertainment as the most times a WWE champion ever, over top of the greatest of all time. Woo! Ric fucking Flair. Okay? Like, it's so goddamn obvious that it was going to be John Cena. So that was scenario 1. Scenario 2 was Cena winning the Elimination Chamber and then it happening exactly like it happened. The only thing I didn't predict was fucking Travis Scott smoking a doobie and blowing sage in the ring the whole time for some fucking reason. I sat there, I told a bunch of people I was close with, I said it on the internet. I was like, John Cena is going to turn heel and it is going to be incredible. And people are like, you're fucking crazy. Cena's not going to turn heel. He hasn't done it in years. Why would he do it now? It's the best time to do it. He's leaving. He can do the thing he's wanted to do. He wanted to go heel several times, and Vince was like, I don't like that, pal. You're selling too much merch, pal. Like, fucking old skunk head fucker. Rob does the heel John Cena.
You gotta think of the kids, John.
Yeah.
You gotta think of the kids. What are they gonna say to you if you do this?
Yeah. So I correctly predicted about Cena turning heel, and I want my flowers for that, because there's a bunch of people that were telling me I was insane and full of shit. And I'm about to say something too that I think is going to happen at WrestleMania regarding this whole John Cena thing. And I've said it on Twitter already, and people are also saying there's no way they would do that. It makes no sense, but all of the pieces are lining up. It makes perfect sense. At WrestleMania 41 in Las Vegas, Jey Uso is going to be Gunther for the world title, and people are going to fucking hate it. And guess what? At the end of the show, on night 2, when John Cena is taking on Cody Rhodes for the WWE title, Cody's going to have him beat. The Rock's going to come out. There's going to be some fuckery. Travis Scott's probably going to fucking smack Cody on the ear again. And then all of Cody's friends that are left are going to come out to try to help him out. So that's going to be, a couple guys, mainly Jey Uso. And guess what? Jey Uso is going to super kick Cody Rhodes in his fucking teeth. And at the end of the show, it's going to be The Rock, Jey Uso, and John Cena all in the ring together with Travis Scott lurking behind, and The Rock's faction as the final boss is going to be complete. He's going to, instead of having Cody Rhodes as his champion, he's going to have both of the champions. He's going to have John Cena, WWE champion, Jey Uso, world heavyweight champion. And it's going to come out that Jay won the Royal Rumble. It was him and John Cena. They were the final two. Just 2 or 3 weeks before the Royal Rumble in Houston, Texas, Travis Scott's town, Travis Scott came out during Jey Uso's entrance with him. They were yeeting together and in the crowd. And then just a couple weeks later, Cena and Jey are the final two in the Rumble. And then just a couple weeks later, Cena wins the Elimination Chamber, turns heel with Travis Scott and The Rock in the ring. Jey Uso's been getting booed by people online, saying that he can't wrestle. The most recent upload of his match with Austin Theory, which was cut, they shortened it a ton, turned it into a squash match when it was supposed to be like an 11-minute match, has the most dislikes. It has like 80,000 dislikes before we got onto this podcast tonight, compared to like 13,000 likes. People are turning on Jey Uso in real time, and he's saying things that are hinting at it, just like how John Cena in his promo, or his press conference after the Royal Rumble said, "What's best for business is me being in the main event of WrestleMania." That's not a babyface thing to say. As soon as he said it, I said, "Oh, he's fucking turning heel." I said, he's gonna be a bad guy. And then when The Rock was like, "Cody, I want your soul," I was like, "Oh, it's gonna be John Cena." Instantly, I'm like, it's going to be Cena. Cena's gonna turn. I sent this. Let me find this here. I sent this to Dime earlier today. Earlier today on his Instagram story, Jey Uso posted a picture of him. It's blue behind him and black all around him. He's on a stairwell. What's always blue and black? The most electrifying man in sports entertainment, The Rock. His entrance, it's always lightning and dark. Okay, that's number one. And the caption is, "Crash out Jay, Lord help me." And then, so what's it mean when you crash out? It means you go fucking crazy and you just do shit. You do what you want to do. And then you have a bunch of other stuff. Like, he just keeps saying small things. There was something he said on Raw that I messaged him and I was like, "Bro, people keep telling me I'm crazy. It's going to fucking happen." I'm so convinced that at WrestleMania, the ending shot of night 2 is going to be The Rock in the middle, John Cena on one side, Jey Uso on the other side, and it's going to be like akin to a 2-man power trip if Vince McMahon was their manager kind of thing. Like, I'm not saying that Jey Uso is on the level of like a Steve Austin or a Triple H, obviously, in the ring. He's definitely not. I love Jey Uso. I enjoy him a lot. I think he's a great character. I don't think he's a great worker. I think that's pretty much the consensus. But I think the turn is happening. And I think it's crazy that people are telling me that, like, there's no way they would do that. He sells the most merch, this, that, and the other thing. It's so easy. And the other thing to think about, too, The Rock, he lies. A motherfucker lies about a lot of shit. But he claims that what he did at Bad Blood was setting up the story. He claims that when he came out to the ring, and in the ring was Cody Rhodes, Roman Reigns, and Jimmy Uso, when he came out and did the 3-2-1 and the cutthroat thing, that was always hinting at 3 was Cena, because Cena does this thing. Obviously, The Rock is number 2. And then there's one more. So there's going to be a third person that's going to join in with them. Who better than a member of his family that keeps being shit on online, that won the Royal Rumble with John Cena in the ring? Who's to say that Cena was told, "Hey, don't touch Jay. Let's make sure that you two are the final 2. Let's shock the world. John, you're going to go and you're going to win the Elimination Chamber. I'll make sure of it. And if you don't, I'll make sure you get in that match at WrestleMania. Let's try to get Jay the Royal Rumble. Let's get the people behind him and see how they react." You mean to tell me the guy portraying the character of the final boss can't pull those strings and make that shit happen? I'm telling you. I'm fucking telling you.
Well, everything that you're saying now would actually like point and imply of the push.
Yeah.
Which was the elimination. It wasn't anything like punch, kick, go back and forth, blow to blow. It was just a push. By the way, there are your flowers.
Yeah, thank you. I see that. Cena got eliminated real easy out of that Royal Rumble he desperately needed to win to go to WrestleMania.
Yep.
And he gave Jey Uso his flowers. The Travis Scott connection, I think, is important too, because it seemed like just a random thing. Travis Scott didn't come out with anybody else during their entrances. He randomly came out one night with Jey Uso. A couple weeks later, Jey Uso wins the Rumble. A couple weeks later, Travis Scott is in the ring with John Cena during the craziest heel turn of all time. I'm just saying.
Anyhow,
it might not happen, but I think it's going to happen.
I mean, the draw up of it actually like has me like excited.
It makes a lot of sense.
This happen? Yeah,
makes a lot of sense.
So you've already drawn through the Gunther Uso.
Yeah.
I'm already seeing like one of the matches I'm not too keen or too happy about. The Tiffany Stratton Charlotte Flair.
If Charlotte wins, I'm going to be pissed.
That's the consensus of everybody.
I'm not even one of those people that hate Charlotte Flair. I just hate how it feels. Like, I understand, yes, on top of her game, she's still probably the best single women's wrestler on the planet. But it's just she comes for 6 months, wins a title, loses a title, feuds for that title, and then she's gone for a year and a half. It's like it's been the same string of things with her since like 2018. She comes in after being injured or gone or taking time off or whatever, and she just comes in and instantly wins the belt off of whoever has it, buries them, makes them look like shit, wins the belt, and then she feuds with one of her girls like Becky Lynch or fucking Sasha was in there, but now Sasha's now in AEW as Mercedes Moné. But like, it's just it's rinse and repeat. It is the pure definition of like milk toast. Like it's so fucking bland that she just does the same thing. Not that I want to see her like having matches, no offense, with Chelsea Green for like the women's US title. I like Chelsea Green a lot. I think she's fantastic. But like, yes, if Charlotte Flair is going for a title, it needs to be the world title or the women's title or the women's heavyweight title, whichever one you want to call it. But there are interesting feuds for her. There's her versus Rhea Ripley 3 years later. There's her versus Bianca that hasn't been a feud yet. There's her that, there's her, like, obviously, yes, Tiffany is kind of like the mini Trish, or not mini Trish Stratus. Well, actually, she kind of was the mini Trish Stratus, but also the mini Charlotte Flair in a way. Like they kind of, their moveset's relatively similar, things like that. They have the moonsault and stuff like that. There's a lot of things that, like, yeah, you can draw similarities between Charlotte and Tiffany Stratton, but there were more interesting feuds for Charlotte, I think, if she came back and didn't go straight for the title. But when she was announced for the Rumble, I was like, oh, Charlotte's going to win the Rumble. And I knew she wasn't going to go for Rhea at that point. It was just pretty clear to me, or Liv at that point was still the champion, I think. So it was kind of obvious to me that like they weren't going to go Charlotte against the Raw champion. It was going to be Tiffany the whole time. And I think it's going to end up being a good match. I don't think Charlotte's going to sandbag Tiffany. And if she does and they put on a shit match, people are going to blame Tiffany for it, and it's not going to be her fault.
I can already see that, because like when Charlotte came back from the Rumble, one of the things they said was she looked like shit.
Yeah, she didn't look good.
She moved like shit. She acted like, and you haven't really seen her even wrestle, except for, hey, you've got a match.
Yeah, she just, like I said, I don't hate Charlotte Flair. I'm just kind of fatigued. And honestly, it's the same thing with Becky Lynch. Becky's been gone so long that I feel like I'm going to be excited to see her come back. But she's kind of in the same boat. She comes back and she just like wins the title and then loses it in some shit feud, and then she's gone for a few months. It's like, I don't need that. They're big enough to elevate other people by having great matches without the title involved.
Yeah.
And people on the internet don't understand that, but like real wrestling fans fucking understand that.
Well, it's like, think about Becky Lynch like right now. Like if she took the match against what is it, Lila Valkyrie?
Yeah.
For the Intercontinental title.
Yep, Lyra Valkyrie. Who I like a lot, by the way. I think she's fucking cool, man.
Her matches with Dakota Kai were amazing.
Yeah, and I think Dakota Kai kind of sucks. So like to have a good match with her, to me, it's a really big plus on the person that does it, because Dakota, I don't get the infatuation with her. Yeah, she's a mildly attractive woman, but she is not that great in the ring to me. Like that's
she has her moments where like she needs to be stronger, but like the Indies though, Dakota Kai in the Indies was actually really good.
Yeah, that was before the knee injuries.
Yeah,
I think the knee injuries have changed who she is. And it's not to say like I never thought she was any good, because there for a while, like NXT, I thought she was fantastic. But like on the main roster in ring, she just doesn't do it for me anymore. I don't think she's as good as she once was. And it's probably because of the injuries. And that's perfectly okay. That's out of her control. You know what I mean? Like I don't dislike her for that. I just don't think that she's a good worker in her current state. You know, and not that you need to be. If you have a great personality and you're over with the fans, fuck it. If you're a mild, shitty worker like Jey Uso, fucking who cares? If people love you, they love you. You know, like Jay's not great in the ring. I love him. Every week he does his entrance, I fucking yeet. I don't give a shit. You know. But yeah, so, that's
one of the things I saw, which was probably like it was perfect script writing. It was perfect for like what got me. it was Naomi and Bianca Belair in the ring, and they were talking about like everything that was going on. And then within the instance, it was like Jade Cargill getting involved now because Naomi and what she did. That to me just
it works.
Yeah,
it was very good. It was very good. If Jade Cargill can actually fucking wrestle a little bit, like that'll be a great feud because Naomi is very good. Problem is, apparently Jade is pissing people off backstage, which hopefully kind of stops. But apparently she's got an attitude about her, which doesn't surprise me. She had that big Goldberg-esque winning streak in AEW and then left and was packaged as like the next big thing to WWE. And then she like never worked a singles match really. It was all tag team stuff with Bianca where she would just get the hot tag and finish off matches, but she didn't really put in the work as far as like having a full-fledged match or being in the ring for 15, 20 minutes or anything like that. It's just, you know, if she can prove that she can work, she's got the look. She's got everything to be the biggest star in the business, as far as I'm concerned. It's just, can she actually work in the ring or not?
Yeah, and that's where like I want to see. I want to see if that can actually like carry over and do everything it needs to.
Yeah.
You know, I'm just looking at like there's so much like to the fact that like, you know, you look at an abundance, like going back to like the Charlotte Flair piece when she won the Rumble. I think one of the parts that made me angry was here's Charlotte Flair getting divorced from Andrade. Yep. She's getting more plastic surgery. She's looking fake as ever as can be.
Yeah.
And she's basically all about her appearance,
All that work, and she still won't get a BBL. All that work, and she still has the ass of a 14-year-old boy.
Right.
It's fucking crazy.
Wait, what?
you heard me.
Oh my God. But of all seriousness though, like when you're looking at her and she comes in and the way she worked, the way she was on, like even when she was just hitting people, it was like, who are you?
Yeah.
You are not the queen. You're like
the queef.
Sucking. Yeah, I'll even agree with that. She was the queef of the ring.
She was the queef, dude.
Queef of the ring. who can get blown away more? But the worst aspect of it is here you have a younger entrant, which was Alexa Bliss.
Yep.
Who I guess that pissed off people because she took I guess Shotzi was supposed to be in the Rumble.
Yeah. See, that's the thing that pisses me off about the IWC. Once again, the fucking internet wrestling community. That is the shit that pisses me the fuck off. None of these motherfuckers give a singular fuck about Shotzi Blackheart. And it's nothing against her. I think she's fine. I think she's fun. She's got a look to her. But she doesn't get over with the live crowd. It just, I mean, her pushes have been stop, start. And it just, they haven't really given her a true opportunity. But like, let's be honest, that appearance in the Rumble was going to be a one-off. What the fuck was it going to do for Shotzi?
Nothing.
It was gonna do nothing. And she was going to have no storylines coming out of it, no matter how good or bad she looked. And it was just going to be another wasted fucking appearance for her where they don't actually capitalize on what she could be. So it's like these people are like, oh man, Shotzi, I'm so sad for you. It's like, fuck you. No, you're not. No, you're not. You're just a fucking white knight grifter on Twitter fucking complaining because you want people to think that you fucking care about somebody you don't give a shit about. Yep. And that to me makes you a shittier person than if you're just honest and be like, I just don't fucking care about this person.
No, like let's take a person that was in the previous Royal Rumble. Let's she's gonna be in. And then a person who hasn't been in the Rumble in 2 years, okay, who had a child, she had like complications, she had like a lot of other things going on, but she's a fan favorite, she's a growth to it.
Yeah.
Okay, what are you going to do? Oh, well, we're going to put her in the Rumble. Yes, the Royal Rumble is meant for 2 things. It's meant for hype, and it's meant to find out who the fuck is going to WrestleMania. Yeah. That's it.
That's all.
Okay. You don't get people that are like, oh, I'm retired, but I'm coming back for the Rumble.
Yep.
They're not on Raw the following night. Who cares?
Yeah, I mean, you had they did have that with Nikki Bella. Supposedly she was going to come back and do more, and then she just hasn't come back. So it's like, what was the point in her coming back? You know what I mean?
Well, she was supposed to, and like I think she was supposed to like pop off an NXT and then like grow from there. But I don't think like she actually had anything going, so it kind of. But I think also like one of the things that derailed her was she didn't realize how out of shape she was.
Yeah, she wasn't ready for the Rumble, I don't think.
No, well, it was the same thing with Charlotte Flair.
Yeah.
Charlotte Flair was chop, chop, kick, do, woo. But then what else? And I still say this to this day. Charlotte Flair has been downgraded to mid-level human ever since she got the mole taken off. It might have been the source of her powers. It might have been everything else. But she is not the same friggin' wrestler since she got it hooked. I don't care.
She got the mole removed and fucking just became a failure. That's crazy.
Listen, it was Power Mole. It was Power Mole. It caused her to like do proper all the moon shit she used to do. Now that the fact that it's gone, what is she? She's been nothing. She can't even get a decent ass.
And she can pay for one. That's the worst part. She can buy one.
She's paid for everything else. Listen, the one thing I'll say is like for like I broke him.
Woo! The fucking mole. I forgot she had the mole. I completely forgot about it until you just brought it up.
Everybody forgets about the mole. The mole is real.
Oh my god. Oh, that's so good. That's so good.
Yep, that's why nobody's watching right now. Because it's so good. It'll get like 40 hits like later on. Somebody will be like, oh, they're talking about stuff. Cool. But no, like if like look at everything going on. She is going down the path that Daddy was going down.
Yep.
So she's going to be the woman to beat. Why do I think John Cena is going to win 17? Is because somewhere in Denmark, everybody got sick and tired of Ric Flair.
Yep.
Because he was the guy, and as great as the guy as he was, when things come out about your personal life.
I was going to say, I think Flair's problem is people know he's a piece of shit. It's like Hulk Hogan.
Yes!
Like everybody knows he's a giant piece of garbage now.
Yes! So, but like now, how do you look at the daughter? Like, listen, I understand she's probably hyped backstage, but when you get to real fans, they don't give a shit.
Yeah, and it's hard. You look at somebody like Charlotte, who's a great wrestler in her own right, but has also in essence been in the shadow of her dad her entire career. I mean, fuck, look at her last storyline before she disappeared for a couple years. Her last storyline was with fucking Lacey Evans, and they were saying that she got pregnant by Ric Flair. That was the storyline, that Lacey Evans fucked Ric Flair and got pregnant by him. And she was going to feud with Charlotte over that. How fucking bananas is that?
At that point, I really wish I was Ric Flair because
100%.
Impregnating Lacey Evans, I'm down with that.
Yeah, that's a winner. But it's just like you look at what she was given, and like you understand why people were like, I don't want to fucking see this. I didn't want to fucking see it.
But then again, like look at what happened to Lacey Evans after that.
Yeah. Oh yeah. But then what I was going to say leading into that or out of that was that you look at someone like Charlotte and like, the sins of the father kind of fall to the daughter in a way. But like you look at somebody like Stephanie McMahon and people still love her. And she's like the daughter of like one of the most disgusting dudes ever.
Because she's nothing like Daddy though.
Yeah. Because she seems like she's a decent human.
Yeah. Well, here's what I'll give you upon like anything. Like, look at people that are like second or third generation superstars. Like, you've got second generation in Charlotte Flair.
Yeah.
She did everything to imitate Daddy.
Yeah.
Why? She could have went on a tirade of herself. Like, the high flying Charlotte Flair, like, the one who flies off the top turnbuckle, does everything. And make it not about Dad, about her. And people will probably be more interested. I probably would be more interested.
Yep, me too.
Okay, look at Randy Orton. Randy Orton came in and he was introduced as like the son of Cowboy Bob Orton.
And
Do
then
you
he's
think
nothing like him.
you think the Viper is anything like his father right now?
No.
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 Look at
his career is so much better than what Cowboy Bob's was. It's crazy.
Yep. Look at speaking of, look at The Rock.
Yep.
You know, his daddy. He
The
was
soul man.
never the height that like The Rock was.
No.
And did he come in like thinking like, oh yeah, I'm gonna act like that? Like he came like his original match, like what he came in with was
Rocky Maivia, die Rocky
Oh.
die.
Oh my god.
I won the Intercontinental Championship, and for months, all you idiots said were 3 words: die, Rocky, die. You chanted, Rocky sucks. Rocky Maivia is a lot of things, but sucks isn't one of them. I always like to, every now and again, I like to watch a compilation of him hitting the "it doesn't matter what your name is." And I always fall back to my absolute favorite of all time is The Rock in the ring with the Dudleys. And Bubba Ray is going, it's when he was doing his fucking stuttering thing. And he goes, we're the do. And The Rock goes, it doesn't matter. And that's the one I always fall back to with how just fucking great he was. There are a lot of times where I see him now and I'm like, please fucking Dwayne, get off my TV. But like the shit with Cena, I'm in for it. And Jey Uso. And you know, that kind of stuff. But like, I wish he'd stop just interjecting himself into WrestleMania season. That's the thing that pisses me off. I do love my favorite piece of lore, like WWE lore, that's been happening over the last couple of years, is that The Rock comes out of nowhere toward WrestleMania season with a pitch, a big idea to like do something, and Cody Rhodes is like, I think that sucks and we shouldn't do it. Because The Rock's whole thing was he wanted Cody. This was months ago. The initial pitch for the heel turn was that Cody was going to sell his soul to The Rock and become his heel champion. And Cody's like, I don't want to do that. I think that sucks. And Cody's 2 for 2. 2 for fucking 2. The Roman Rock match, the Roman Rock match, sure, it was big marquee, but I'm glad it didn't happen when, you know, everything happened with the way it did with Cody and him getting the title and all that. And Cody turning heel, yes, he will eventually do it, but doing it for The Rock, who like feuded with him all last year and beat him with a belt and shit on TV, it just like, it was dumb. Cody is the proverbial baby face. Like, there's no need to turn him heel right now. It's going to happen, but it doesn't have to happen right now in that circumstance. John Cena was the perfect person to turn heel for The Rock. He's gone Hollywood. He's a part-timer. He wants another title.
Everything he was against when The Rock actually went Hollywood.
Yep. You either die the hero or live long enough to see yourself become the villain. He became everything he hated when he turned into Dwayne Johnson by going to Hollywood and becoming a part-timer in World Wrestling Entertainment. He is literally like the perfect person to be under The Rock because he is The Rock.
And that's the beautiful aspect of it. That's everything you could ever want and then some. It's like,
yep, it's perfect.
Oh, I love this.
It's literal perfection. It is one of the most perfect ways to unfold a wrestling storyline that has happened ever. Not just in the last 5 years, ever.
Yep. And I'm here for it.
It's thanks to Cody Rhodes saying no, because he's a fucking genius and he just understands the business. Like, I know Cody and Dusty aren't very similar as far as like their careers are concerned, but Cody Rhodes is the modern day Dusty in how he thinks and understands the wrestling business. He is, if not the one of the like 2 or 3 best minds in the business, period. Yeah, I love Cody Rhodes. The people that hate him are fucking stupid.
Well, everybody who doesn't know like how like you actually went from, oh hey, well we'll just go down the way and we'll go about this, and you know, Cody left the WWE. He didn't care. Like, no, he just was sick and tired of, you know, I think he was the first one that actually came about with, I hate the ideas. I hate the fact that like I've been sitting here for years. My dad was one of the ones who knew exactly what was going on. And especially with my brother being in here and everything he did. I should have been able to like choose my path, should have been able to do everything I did, and I didn't.
Yeah.
But you know something? I went out there, I carved my path, I made my dues, I made everything of what it was, and now what happened? Everybody wanted me back. Why? Because I am who I am, and it made sense. So I gotta applaud him for doing that.
Yep. He's one of the best in the business right now, and he will go down as one of the best to ever do it when his career is over. All of the things he's done for independent wrestling and then as a professional in WWE, he will go down as one of the best ever.
And I'm okay with it.
Yeah. He is the best ambassador for WWE they could possibly have right now.
And that's basically also things you want, because you need things like that.
Yep.
By the way, speaking of brand ambassadors, what's your take on Braun Breaker?
Oh my God. He's the best. I love him. He's that dude is that dude is every bit of Rick and Scott combined into one guy, and it is beautiful to see. That
like a lot of the stuff I'm like watching, seeing, and like looking at, it's like, dude, that guy
is the face of wrestling in 3 years.
3 years.
Yeah, 3 years. I say 3 simply because by the time 3 rolls around, that's when Roman will probably be pretty much done. That's when Cody is going to be pretty much winding down, because he said he doesn't really want to go past like 42. And he's 39 going on 40 or 40 already. Yep. So 3 years, I think Cody and Roman, who are like the 2 biggest superstars right now, I think they'll be pretty much by the wayside. It'll be Braun Breaker. It'll be Gunther. And Gunther's older than Braun Breaker. So it'll be like the guy that's the face that's going to run the place and be there for years and years and years to come is going to be Braun Breaker. Within 2 years is more, I think that's very reasonable, but I think 3 is when he's fully cemented as like the guy. Like, even if he wins the title next year, he's probably still not going to be viewed as the guy above Cody or Roman.
No, but like, I mean, he's growing himself to be.
Yeah.
I mean, like, you know,
he's going to be there very quickly.
I think like the one thing that like solidifies me with like enjoying Gunther's matches is it's a different take. It's an old school style, and it's stuff that like makes you really interesting. But then you look at someone like Braun Breaker, who's completely on the other spectrum, is like high flying, very energetic, very like, oh my God, I just had 5 Red Bulls and I'm rip roaring and ready to go. But he is just, Jesus Christ, is he a specimen?
Yeah, he really is. He really, really is. He's like, just
wow,
incredible.
I just don't know. It's like, holy shit.
Yeah. It's absurdly impressive what he can do.
Yeah. I'd take him over Jade Cargill any day.
Yeah. I'd take him over most people.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, we're pushing 3 hours. Fucking hey, we're going.
I know. Why does this happen?
That's what happens when you got dudes that just waffle.
It's not that like I've the last 2 guests I had, okay, and even my friend Al said it. I'm one of those guys that like I ask good questions and then people go on a tangent of it because it's like, oh shit, it's an overloaded question.
Yeah,
I can do A, I can do B, and then like I get on a topic that like I like and the person likes, and like it was you. It was like, and I even just heard myself through the speakers on that one.
Yeah, that was the sound. That was the sound you just made.
I can also say like to the fact that I texted my friend Joe and I was like, hey, I heard about this thing. It was fries with Old Bay seasoning and cheese. And he's like, duh.
It's so good, dude. It's so good. You ever go to Philadelphia or Pittsburgh, you have to get them. Chicken Pete's crab fries.
Oh, like, well, I'm one that like I put Old Bay on chicken.
Oh, I love Old Bay seasoning.
Yep.
I could put it on just about anything.
Yep. If I do like shrimp, I'll do like some Old Bay, some honey, some ginger, a little bit of lemon, shake it up, throw it like on a. I'll actually do it on a grill because I like it on the grill.
Oh yeah, you
better.
have to grill it. You have to grill it.
Well, if you do it in a pan, it's okay too.
I see. I like my shrimp grilled. I don't really care for them any other way. It's got to be grilled for me.
Even like even the mini shrimps.
Yeah, I prefer just grilled. Period.
Yeah, I can't take on oxymoron. So when you get jumbo shrimp, I'm out.
Yeah. Listen, I do like a large tiny.
The fuck is a large tiny?
A jumbo shrimp.
Oh my god.
A large tiny.
Oh, I can't do it. I just heard myself again. It's like, oh.
I came up with that on the spot. I've never heard anyone else say that. Just came out of my mouth, and I was like,
What, the large tiny?
Yeah. I've never heard somebody say that.
Well, it's like when people sit there, it's like, oh, hey, anybody seen George? I'm like, oh, you mean Tiny?
Yeah.
What the fuck you calling George Tiny for? Dude, he's 450 pounds. He ain't tiny. That's the point.
I had a buddy named Ian in college, and he was a pudgy motherfucker. I always called him Skinny Marill. And he's like, why the fuck you call me that? I was like, you know why I'm calling you that, motherfucker.
Oh.
Fucking skinny. All of our friends call him Skinny now too. Even to this day, they still call him Skinny. And he actually is like in shape now, and they still call him Skinny. It's so funny. He's like a gangster.
It's like when you find like the big guys and you're like, hey, what's up, Slim?
Yeah.
Who the hell are you talking to? Slim. Do I look slim?
Fucking
Do I look like I'm like
dude.
No. Yeah, he would have known the Air Force Ones though.
Apparently not. Stopping in my Air Force Ones.
Can't believe it. Wow.
I knew it too. That was the worst part. I knew what it was. And I was just like, that's not Nelly.
But it was.
I don't know why. In my mind, I'm like, that's not Nelly.
It's only Nelly.
Yeah, it was
It's
Nelly.
only where it's
Nelly. It was Nelly.
Oh. Well, I know you have editing. I also got to get to bed.
Yeah, I'll probably do most of it in the morning while my kids at daycare now. I figured we'd be doing like an hour or so. I was like, I wasn't prepared for 3, but
well, I did tell you 2, and then all of a sudden I cracked into the wrestling, and you're like, wait, what?
Yeah, it was an easy 3, truthfully. Baseball, fucking travel, fucking gaming, and fucking wrestling. I say it all the time. Like, if you like any combination of baseball, basketball, wrestling, and video games, we can be friends in any situation. I don't care if we're on completely different sides of like the political spectrum or fucking different side of the world. We speak different languages. If you like any combination of those 4 things, we can be friends. Like, we will be cool.
I think that's why me and you bonded over the time, because we always had something funny to laugh at and everything in between. And you were always the hey, come into my room and just hang out.
Yeah, I like chilling and talking. You know, if you're not an asshole, I'm fucking down.
Oh, so like the story I was gonna tell you the other day before, like I can actually say
yes,
it here,
yeah.
So I did this is my gaming aspect. I got gifted MLB The Show 25. And I thank the person that gifted it to me. It was amazing. And I've started streaming it a little bit, and I've been like a little bit more vocal with it, like, than I have in past years. And I'm like, something, I'm going to do a franchise. I'll sit here, I'll do a franchise, I'll tinker around with it, I'll go and make my team on so this way, like when everybody's in, we catch up. I'll go on Diamond Dynasty, I'll do everything I'm doing. I made my team. I signed the Red Sox, and I sent Rafael Devers to Toronto. See you the fuck later. I sent him to Toronto, and I got Vlad.
You traded Rafi for Vlad straight up.
Straight up trade.
That's crazy.
25-year-old for a 28-year-old and a better defense. I'll take it.
I wouldn't say Vladdy's much better defensively, but he
It's-
plays first base instead of third, so it doesn't hurt you as much.
It's still a better defense.
Yeah.
Well, that's also an MLB The Show like context. So, like,
Yeah.
when you're looking at the numbers, it's like, oh crap, he's better.
Yeah, there's no way that trade would ever really happen, but yeah, I'm feeling it.
Well, some people can dream. When you look at it, also, I went into my first game of the season, and before I did anything, all of a sudden it screams, "Hey, Rafael Devers is on waivers."
Mm-hmm.
I claimed him.
You got him right back.
So I'm like, well, what the hell am I going to do with him now? I have nowhere to put him.
Yeah, that's crazy.
But it was amazing to the fact that, like, I traded them, got Vlad, signed him to like a little bit of contract that was going to be even cheaper than like what he was, and I'm like, oh man, this is great. What are you going to worry about?
Right back to you. Here's your sign.
Yep. got a catcher in return. So
there you go.
Yeah. They actually got the catcher from where the hell was he? San Francisco.
Patrick Bailey.
Yeah.
That's solid.
Not a full bat, but that defense is like, holy shit.
Yeah, he is top tier defensively.
I like that in my catcher. So you gotta have some grit when it comes down to it.
I agree. Gotta have a glove.
Oh yeah. But all right.
Yeah. That was fun. That was a good time. Thanks for having me.
It was. You're welcome. Hey, everybody, this is Trav. Go follow him. He'll give you the socials in a second because he knows them more than I do. I'm supposed to know these things.
All right. We have they're all on YouTube. It's all at Completionist Trav. The difference is one is just Completionist Trav and the other is Completionist Trav 2 and the other is Completionist Trav 3. I actually have 3 channels. The 3, I think it's the one without a number, and the 2 are my Platinums channel and my baseball channel. The third one I'm currently not going to be using because I'm kind of a little too busy to do stuff with that right now. But on TikTok it's Trav Plays Ball. I'm actually thinking about making a TikTok for my Platinum Trophy videos because the way I'm recording now, I can actually have shorts lined up, so I might be doing that as well. Yeah. So Completionist Trav Plays Ball. You'll find me under either of those 2. And that's on Twitch, YouTube, TikTok, Instagram, Twitter, all the above. Everything that isn't Facebook, basically.
So that's where you find them. That's where you actually go watch the videos that we did in the first hour. So Trav, thank you. You're more than welcome. Probably within a little bit of the season, if you're not too busy with the new job, if you want to pop back in, more than welcome.
Hit me up. Let me know.
Will do, man.
I always like to get on and waffle. So,
dude, hey, we can always have you back for WrestleMania.
Listen, we might have to do that. We might just have to do that.
We might actually have to because I actually want to do a round table to see what the fuck happened at WrestleMania.
Yeah.
And I know a friend of mine's going to be out there. He's going to be enjoying himself. They're going with a couple of the guys. So I know that if it's midnight, WrestleMania just ended.
Mm-hmm.
Boom. I'm for it.
Yeah, I'm all for it. So, yeah, let me know. Man. We'll workshop it. So,
all right.
Okay.
Thank you for popping. I will talk to you soon.
All right, brother. Take it easy. Thanks, guys.
You too. All right. He was. We never mentioned his last name, so that's completely all right with me. I'm just trying to figure out how to. There we go. Travis is probably one of the really chill dudes that I know from Twitch, TikTok. He does some amazing videos, so definitely if anybody's watching this for the after effect, if you are on watching on Spotify, listening on Spotify, iHeartRadio, you can pop on YouTube, check it out. It is worth the listen, as I think everybody who always does. We'll be we're going to be back. I had internet issues, so this way I wasn't able to do Sunday. I had a whole bunch of other stuff. I also couldn't talk really much because I got sick and there was no way of having it. I think there was last Wednesday I was struggling like crazy just to even talk. But we've done a blast. It's always fun being here. So we will see you to Wednesday. To Sunday. Sunday. Everybody likes Sunday. All right. My name is Topher. I'm with Boston Concessions. We are an SSBN podcast. I love those boys down there. They are March Madnessing. I'm going to attempt to talk to March Madness. I'm also going to try to get somebody on here, probably Sunday, that can actually talk March Madness, because I have no clue. I've been out of March Madness for multiple years. If you talk to early teen me and 20-year-old me, yeah, you knew me from everything and a half. You could have asked me who the Big Ten is, and I would have been fine. Now it's I don't even know. I know somebody's playing, they're hooping it up, and there's an NCAA Final Four coming. There's a Sweet 16. There's a whole bunch of stuff coming up, so I'm happy to it. But yeah, hopefully we'll talk to you guys on Sunday. Please have a good rest of your week. Good start to your weekend. And what a way to close out your weekend than to talking to me here. So have it. Good night. And we'll talk to you guys soon. Again, this has been Topher with Boston Concessions, a SSBN podcast discussing sports, food, everything in between, and all the good stuff that's happening. So we will talk to you guys soon. Have a good rest of your night. Bye.